what is happening, everyone? Boy, it is another fun-filled day in America. Lots of great things happening all over the place, particularly in Minneapolis. Holy smokes, what a wild time, man. Yeah, they've got a lot of crazy things going on in the country right now, and there's a lot of. I think it's all kind of planned. I think that this is something that they're trying to do. The administration is trying to do to keep the eye off of this whole Epstein thing. Like I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but I've heard enough of this stuff now for so long that there's where there's smoke, there's fire, right? And it seems like the closer we get to these files, everything else just seems to get turned up more and more. It's like, well, now we got a fire over here. We got a fire over here. Look at all these fires over here. Fire, 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 fire. It's like distractions just galore. And I can't help but think that there's something there. Like, I don't know about you guys, but this is just wild, right? And when I do my lives, I talk about all kinds of things. I'll talk about woodworking, I'll talk about business, I'll talk about politics, talk about whatever it is I want to talk about. But based on the shooting that we had today in Minnesota, it's just yet another one of these things that is happening again after Congress passed this bill this law to release the Epstein files. And you can't help but notice that there is a correlation. Like there is something clearly going on here. And so I thought it'd be helpful to talk about exactly what the immigration policies really are, what this Epstein bill really is about, and how these things really happen, and why we're not paying attention to these things the way that we should be. Okay, so that's what I'm gonna talk about today. We're gonna talk about the various things that are going on that are leading to, I hate to use the C word, but you almost get to like a civil war kind of situation where you got one group of people in the country that believe one way, and you got another people that believe they're just diametrically opposed in their views, completely different, wildly different opinions on things. And I don't know how we fix this, right? Until we get everyone to kind of believe in reality, we're just going to continue to be in this situation where nobody believes anything that the other people have to say. And I don't know, maybe that's the plan, man. I don't know. But it seems to me like there's been enough talk about these files at this point that there's something there. And when people pretend that there's nothing there, it creates a big problem, right? It pisses people off when you actually try and deny the fact that there's smoke in this particular situation. And we got to do something about it. Otherwise, the country's going to burn down. We just continue to deny the other side just because they have a different belief than you do. Like, you're going to in a massive problem, So that's what we're going to talk about today. So let's go into it real quick. So one of the things that Trump ran on was this whole immigration thing, right? Like, the guy was just hardcore. Like, if I literally pulled up the pillars of his 2024 presidential campaign, and the number one pillar was closing the border, and they used the word mass deportations. Okay, so no one had any illusions about what this guy was going to do, and the guy won in arguably a landslide, right? So from that, you have to kind of infer that he meant it. Right? He was going to deport a lot of people, and a lot of people have voted for this kind of stuff, whether you like it or not. I'm not telling you guys to pick a side or nothing, but I'm always telling you guys that if we don't follow the rule of law as it is written, we end up with anarchy, right? We end up to follow this kind of stuff. We got precedent for this stuff, and people just want to say, nah, no big deal. It's not important to me, so therefore I don't care, right? You can't do that all the time, because when you have so many crazy things happening in our country right now, you're always going to have one group that's like, no, I'm not going to do this. No, we're not going to enforce this rule. No, these people deserve to be here. No, that law doesn't need to be followed. I like this person. I don't like that person. Oh, you want this to be done? Well, I don't want that to be done. They always say that Trump could basically just argue for something just to get the other side to argue against it, and people just hate this guy with a passion. But he ran on closing the border and mass deportation. Not deportation light, not getting rid of criminals, not getting rid of the murderers and the rapists and the bad people. And then he comes out and, he's like, well, we got a lot of good people here, because his corporate buddies are being like, hey, what the fuck, man? You can't get rid of this guy. We need these people. Our business model doesn't work, right? Our business model doesn't work. We don't have this cheap labor. What are we supposed to, we can't hire regular working class people in America. They're too expensive. Now you got to pay them all the welfare, you got to pay them all the insurance. You got to pay, taxes on them. You got to train them. We don't want to do that kind of stuff. We'd rather pay these people who ask no questions, right? We don't have to worry about them suing us. And that's what this thing is really about, guys. They are literally pitting you against me, and it needs to stop. At some point, everyone has to agree on what the rules are. Okay, so we're going to talk about what is the rule that these people are so pissed off about in Minneapolis, right? They're mad because ICE is coming in, pulling these people out of their cars, pulling them out of buildings, doing whatever it is they have to do, right? People have to at least understand that this is what America voted for. Whether you like it or not, more people than not voted for this pillar of this guy's campaign, okay? So let's at least agree on that people did vote for this kind of thing, and whether you like it or not, it did happen. The guy did get elected. The election wasn't stolen, right? Dude won all the swing states, which hardly ever happens for a Republican, right? So the actual law, I actually pulled up the law because I was kind of curious, like why are people suddenly so against this? It doesn't make any sense. And you get a lot of people say, well, it's not actually breaking the law. It's not really a crime even. It's a civil action, okay? And again, both people are right. So let's actually read the law and let's see exactly where everybody is wrong, because everybody's wrong at this point. People like to cherry pick one little part of a rule or a law, and then they don't look at the rest of it, right? And if you look at the entire law, it's pretty obvious what the rules are. And if you're all about accountability and following the letter of the law, you should be pissed off at what is going on in Minnesota, right? This idea that ICE is there pulling people out of cars, pulling people out of buildings, whatever, bringing people that have been here for 20 years and sending them back to where they came from. If you're pissed off about that, you are not following the law, right? So let's look at the law real quick. So I'm going to read it to you guys, and then we're going to go into exactly why this is happening, okay? And one thing you guys have to understand is on December 19th, Congress passed a law stating that the Epstein files had to be released, okay? Where are those files? Where are they? Remember all the Democrats that were up there, oh God, Trump should have got rid of these files. Why didn't you release these files? Trump bad, Trump bad, Trump bad. Okay, now that we're past December 19th, do you hear any Congress members saying, hey, what the fuck? Why aren't these files being released? Where are people censuring Pam Bondi? Where are people going after that Kristi Noem bitch, right? Where are these people pushing back and saying, we passed a law, you signed it, you need to do this thing, or we're going to arrest all of you Congress people. Anybody that is not following the letter of the law needs to go to jail, or at least be brought up on charges, right? Be censured, be pulled out of office until they can prove their innocence, and something needs to happen. Otherwise, it just happens, guys. People have to understand this at this point. When you don't follow the rules, and when you let people just kind of look the other way, you end up with anarchy. And anarchy is what we're starting to see. At least that's what I think. That's what I'm starting to see here, and it's really frustrating, okay? So let's look at the letter of the law when it comes to this immigration thing, because again, too many people are picking and choosing what part of a law they want to follow, and I think it's important that everybody knows exactly what's going on in this particular situation, okay? So how many people have actually crossed the border in the last 10 years? Does anyone actually know that number, right? So we go on and we look at Grok here. I asked Grok, I said, how many illegal entries have come, or how many illegal immigrants have come into this country in the last 10 years, since 2016? And Grok says, well, there's no official number, right? Because it's very hard to officially know a number when people are in the shadows, essentially. They come here illegally. There's no way to document them, to inspect them, to determine who they are. There's no way, right? So the best guess that they have is between 18 and 19 million people since 2016, right? And if you look at that time span, guess when the most people came in, right? Most people came in between 2020 and 2024, okay? You had 10 million people come in during that specific period of time, okay? Now, that is half of all the people in 10 years came in 4 years, okay? Now, do you honestly think that that was on accident, right? I don't think it was on accident, And again, I'm not, whatever. If they did it, great. I don't care. I just want accountability, and I want accountability followed by the letter of the law. I see we got comments coming in. I'm going to dig into comments in just a second, but I want to read to you guys what this really says, because again, if you listen to Fox News, CNN, any of these people, they're all full of shit, guys. Like they're so partisan and so biased that it's absolutely disgusting. So we'll kind of dig into this thing here. I'm going to read to you guys exactly the wording to it, because nobody gives you the wording. It's always just, well, I think it's going to be this, and I think it's going to be that, or they read you like a little snippet of exactly what's going on there, okay? So the rule goes like this, okay? I wrote, what is the law that makes illegal entry in the United States a crime, right? Wouldn't you guys like to know what that is, right? Is it a civil offense? Is it an actual criminal offense? What is it for real, okay? And it's actually 8 U.S.C. S 1325 is the actual rule that states when you can come into this country and when you cannot come into this country. Okay, so listen to this. Follow me on this, okay? Give me 30 seconds, guys. We'll go through this, okay? Here's exactly what it says. The key provision of this entire rule, okay? Entering or attempting to enter the United States at any time or place other than as designated by immigration officers. This would be crossing the border between ports of entry, okay? Excluding examination or inspection by an immigration officer, okay? If you've ever traveled to another country, guess what? They look at all your shit before you come in, because they don't want your bugs and your dirt and your nastiness coming in the country. I know this because I spent a bunch of time in New Zealand. They literally threw my boots away because I had American dirt on them, okay? Trust me. Countries do not want foreign things and foreign bodies coming in their country. Okay? It's an actual thing, all right? Entering or attempting to enter by willfully false or misleading representation or by concealment of a material fact. Okay, so these are the things that you cannot do when you're going to enter the country. This is very important. Okay, now let's go into the penalties. What is the penalty for entering the country illegally, right? Not going through a port of entry or talking to an ICE officer, excuse me, a Customs and Border Patrol officer, okay? What are the penalties? And this is the most important thing, guys, because everybody leaves this part out, right? You got the people on the left saying, oh, it's not a crime, and you got people on the right saying, fucking kill them all, right? So let's listen. The first offense, it actually states, your first offense, it's a misdemeanor, right? Punishable by a fine, right? It's a fine, okay? Very important. Guys, I see the comments. I'm going to get into this, okay? Let me finish what I'm saying, and then we'll go into the comments, okay? It's a fine, all right? The fine, they don't obviously don't say what it is, but or 6 months in prison, all right? So you got a fine and or 6 months in prison, okay? That's offense number 1, all right? Subsequent offenses. It doesn't say offense number 2. It says offense, the subsequent offenses, all right? It becomes a felony. Right? It becomes a felony, all right? Punishable by a fine and or prison of up to 2 years, okay? So people need to understand, okay? Here's the part that they all leave out. Nobody talks about this because it takes too long. Give me 10 seconds, I'll read this to you, okay? This is the main statute used to prosecute first-time illegal border crossings, often called illegal entry, okay? Prosecute. Note, the simply being here and present in the United States unlawfully is generally a civil violation, right? So if you come into the country, they're not going to throw the book at you and throw you in prison right away. It's generally considered a civil offense, all right? Leading to deportation, removal proceedings under immigration law, okay? Here's what they leave out. Not a criminal one, okay? Unless it involves one of the prohibited entry methods above. One of the prohibited entry methods above. Everybody leaves that part out, okay? What are the prohibited entry methods, okay? It's anything other than going through a port of entry, okay? So it is a crime to come into the country illegally. I don't care what anybody says. It says it right here in the statute when you read it, verbatim. I'm reading to you exactly what the text is, okay? Everybody leaves that part out, right? So it's a civil offense. It's a civil offense. It's a civil offense. Unless you came here illegally. If you didn't talk to an immigration officer, right? If you didn't come in legally using Customs and Border Patrol, then you are illegal. You are a felon, right? And people don't want to come to grips with this fact. No one can come to grips with it. And I don't understand why it's such a problem to say, you know what, these people are criminals when they're here. And again, I don't mind if you're here. Again, if Congress tomorrow came in and said, you know what, we're going to legalize all these people, and they passed a law, great. I'm going to bitch about it, but guess what? I can't do anything about it. Now we got to pass a law that says, you know, they're to denaturalize everyone. But they won't do it because Congress doesn't do its job, right? And because Congress doesn't do its job, the Trump administration gets to basically start all these fires all over the place to distract from the real problem, which is this. These Epstein files, guys, are massive. Like the people that are in these things, it's going to be everybody that we know. I mean, all the politicians, the celebrities, the people in the music industry, the world leaders. It's going to be all these people, man, because the truth is that when you get power and you get money, there's only one thing left. It's hyper degeneracy. That's it. And that's what these guys did, right? You get the Mossad in Israel. They took these people and they basically put them in a very compromising, horrible situation and use them to get things, right? The American CIA probably did the same thing. Hell, the American FBI probably could have done some of this stuff. I have no idea. But whatever is in those files, when they try and tell you that they don't exist, they're not real, they've been destroyed, and every time they release something, they've been redacted, it tells you almost all that you need to know, right? And if we look at how much of the files have been released since Congress said to release them, it's 1%. Okay. When I go in here to Grok and I literally ask Grok, well, how many of these files have been released? Grok tells me 1%. So what's going on today is a wild distraction to keep you focused on something else than the thing that really needs to happen. You want to have a better class of politician? Put some sunlight on what they've been doing, right? These sick fucks that are in that file, they need to be exposed. If they're not exposed, nothing's ever going to change because it means that you can get away with it. Once you become powerful, right? Just because you do something that's compromised. Again, the people that are compromising everyone have more power than you can ever imagine. You know, and they can make anything go away or they can make anything stick. And it's a major problem. So anyway, let's go through the comments. This is the kind of stuff we're going to talk about today. Like, so we got all this heated stuff going on in Minnesota. We've had a couple of these shootings, and whether you're for it or against it as far as the whole illegal immigration things, I think Trump has turned this thing into a complete shit show to keep us distracted from what is actually going on. And I can relate all this to small business. If you guys want to talk about small business, I can bring it all back to small business, because it's all about his buddies who run a lot of these companies and do a lot of this shady shit, needing cheap labor here in America. That's why you'll never get rid of these people. Mark my words. These people are never going anywhere. And again, pass a law. They can all stay, right? Don't pass a law. They all need to get out, okay? Look at all this crazy snow, guys. Is everyone you're on this crazy weather, man? We're supposed to get a foot of snow here in St. Louis. It's beautiful here. I don't know if you guys probably can't see any of this, but it's beautiful, man. At my house in the hills here, we look down at all the trees. It's beautiful. Look at all the birds out here. It's amazing. All right, let's dig into this. Let's go through comments real quick. We'll interact with everyone and let's have this conversation, bat it around. People seem to like when we talk politics. I like talking about politics as it relates to business, but we'll just kind of go. What do we got? Nothing else to do. I'm not even going into work today. We're just gonna hang out. So let's do it. All right, here we go. Who do we got in here right now? We got, let's see, Have Evans, Chalk Highway 1552. I don't know quite. Okay, you only have one thumbs up. Okay, well, we'll get more thumbs up, right? So people, hit the like button, add to the discussion. I guess I haven't done my spiel yet. Likes really help to kick the algorithm around to get more people in here. We can get a bigger discussion going on, more bantering back and forth. For people that don't know, my name is Eric Wilken. I'm the Resplendent Crow here in St. Louis, Missouri. I do these talks. I'll do live streams, and I'll talk about business, right? I just did a stream talking about how I started my business. I had a guy ask me, how do you start a paint company? And he was trying to start a paint company. So I did a live stream about doing a paint company. It's kind of cool. We talk about politics from time to time as it remains to immigration, small business, why you can't make enough money today. And it has to do with the delta between the labor in the third world, which is about $2.50 an hour, and the labor here in America, which is about $32.50 an hour. The regulations and the benefits that we have here in America, a lot of these corporations, they're doing it overseas because they don't want to pay you a real living wage. And when they shut off the third world, well, then they'll just bring in the third world to America so that, again, they don't have to pay you the wages and benefits and things you probably deserve as being an American citizen. So that's what I talk about here. We got a good company. We got a great small business here, furniture company. We have about 8-9 employees. We do a small 7 figures, and we've done this for about 10 years now. So let's go. Here we go. Hit the like button, add the discussion. Okay, Son's in here, man. Good to see you, dude. Okay, hit the like button, peeps. Yep. Yeah, keep hitting it. Let's get this thing going, guys. All right, we got Tom Pop in here, 99999. Are you trans? Okay, no, not trans. Been married a long time. Really enjoy being not trans. Okay, Son says, what do these people have in common? Or excuse me, what do those people have in common? Son, I'm not sure who you're talking about. Elaborate for me. We'll get into it. Okay, let's see. How are you? This is D0. I can't pronounce that. Good to see you. I'm doing great. Enjoying the nice snow that we got out here. Having a great time. Going through Twitter, watching Alien Romulus today. I haven't seen that movie, so that's kind of what I'm doing. What are you guys doing today? Is everyone getting this crazy weather? I'm kind of curious if we're all getting the snow. It's a big freaking storm moving through America right now. So, all right, so this beautiful Earth. Say what a great name. Okay, Fragile, must be Italian. Nah, if I'm fragile, I'm pretty German, actually. My wife's always making fun of me. I'm all about processes and making sure everything's perfect, and it's because I'm so German. Which is kind of funny. All right, so let's see, Andrea and Naylor. And Andrea, I don't know if I'm saying your name right, but good to hear. Okay, let's see, those are facts, and people can't comprehend language anymore. Yeah, what is that, guys? Like, what is that? Why don't people want to hear the truth? Why, or not, I wouldn't say, that's not what I mean. Why can't people agree on what the facts are? Why is it so hard to agree on what is true? Like, there has to be some arbiter of the truth. Like, I think Grok is a pretty good place to go. I don't know what other people, I mean, we used to go to encyclopedias, right? We wanted to learn information, then the internet came around, and once the internet was around, we had access to all different kinds of information, and I think the greatest thing that's happened to our civilization in a long time was Elon Musk buying X. Like, I really do think that even though there's a lot of bullshit on there, the dissemination of information is more important than the information itself, right? Having access to a lot of different points of view, you can kind of filter out what's right and what's wrong, and it's, I think that's a really good thing, So I don't know why people can't agree on stuff. Okay, let's see. No due process. Did you give due process when they came here? Yeah, and that's kind of my big thing. It's hilarious that we let 20 million people come in here, right? And you'll hear politicians say, they're letting too many illegals in here. Illegals, listen, they'll talk shit about illegals, but they don't do anything, right? You didn't see anybody getting in front of Congress and refusing to let Congress hold order, right? To refuse to let Congress do its job, right? You sometimes get these people that'll sit up there and they'll filibuster for whatever 24 hours. You don't see any of that shit for any of this kind of stuff. It's always something to do with a budget, or some little pet kind of issue. But very rarely is it the thing that is causing a lot of problems today, which is immigration, right? If you guys look at Europe, I mean, Europe's on fire right now because of the immigration thing. And again, it's not that countries don't like immigrants. We all like immigrants, but you can't let an infinite amount of people come into your country because you can't plan for it, right? Like you guys want housing prices to go down? If 10 million people vanish tomorrow, guess what would happen to housing prices? Guess what happened to rent prices? Guess what happened to energy? 10 million people is a lot of freaking people, guys. Like, it's not like this is a little tiny amount of people. But again, nobody cared then. But now that you start kicking a few of them out, man, suddenly everyone's like, oh, man, we can't have that, right? And if you go look at how many people Obama kicked out, and you go look at how many people Clinton kicked out, no one gave a shit then. Why do they care so much now? Is there that much TDS in this world? Or do people just not have anything to do? Like, I see these people out there protesting. I'm like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Don't you got a job to go to? I don't know how people have so much time on their hands, right? And everyone says that all this stuff's orchestrated and it's paid for. And I don't know if any of that's true, but I've just never met somebody who was that passionate about protesting before. Like, and I'm from Oregon, right? Like, we're as liberal as it gets there. So I don't know, man. But Andrea, great comment. I don't know. Okay, and the more outrageous people want to be, the worse it will get. Yeah, and that's, like, I've talked about it many times. Like, unfortunately here in America, and you see it in Europe too, we have this thing called luxury beliefs here, right? And again, I'm from Oregon, right? I detest the state of California because of what it did to my state in Oregon, and then what it did to my other state, which is Washington, right? Those liberal beliefs, which are ultimately luxury beliefs, move up the coast and they poison those states, right? And again, I don't live there anymore. I can't be around these people. I don't even talk to a lot of my family anymore because they're so brainwashed. But when you have these luxury beliefs, you're allowed to believe, or you're not allowed, you're able to believe things that, again, no other country can believe, right? The beliefs we have here in America, you can't have in Africa, right? They don't have a lot of these beliefs in a ton of the rest of the world. Like, you want to go to India, India doesn't have, you try to tell a guy that a man can be a woman and a woman can be a man in India, they're going to laugh in your fucking face. They're going to think you're a joke. They're not going to take you seriously. Yet here, we pass rules, we pass laws, we do all kinds of things to push this shit here because we can, because we don't have enough to worry about, right? Like, we're worried about 1 or 2 people getting shot here in America when we got 10 million people to get rid of. Like, I'm here to tell you guys, if you can't look at, what we have going on today, you're not going to get these people out. I'm sorry. If you're willing to let 2.5 million people in every single year between 2020 and 2024, and you can't kick out 1 million in 1 year, there's no hope. Like, we're going to become like Europe. If you guys look at Europe, man, Europe's not going to exist in a while, and it's too bad. So, Andrew, man, great comments. I appreciate your input. And if you're one of these people that doesn't want to see this kind of stuff and you feel really passionate about it, like, put it in the comments, because I'm sympathetic. I don't want to see people, like, I think that immigrants are fantastic workers. Like, I say it all the time. Like, I'll give you 2 piece of shit American workers for 1 good illegal immigrant because they actually want to work. They actually care about this country. They love the fact that they have an opportunity to have 3 or 4 jobs, right? I love that idea. I love that hungry mentality that these people have. And I know that because I married an immigrant, right? And she talks about this quite a bit. It's a very immigrant thing. And we had it here in America for a long time, but we're losing it. And we're losing it because of colleges, if I'm going to be completely honest. But I'm not going to go into that. It's just, I think academia has killed that hungry thing that we have here in America. But anyway, we'll go away from that. Okay, Andrea, more comments from you. I appreciate people that still have 2 brain cells. Yeah, I know, me too. And again, like, I want to get along with everyone. I don't want to be one of these people that's like, oh, you believe this? Okay, therefore everything you believe is bad. Like, I think that people can have a shitty idea and an amazing idea. Like, I think that the same person can hold those 2 thoughts. Just because, you think that whatever, men can be women and women can be men, or whatever it is you want to believe, I don't think that's necessarily, I don't write you off. It doesn't mean that everything you think is bad, but I think we're doing a lot of that today. Like, it's just like, it's the left versus the right, and we're going to have this major clash, and we're starting to see some of that in Minnesota. But I don't know, man. It's wild times. Okay, let's see. This is Seth Fish a lot. Great name, man. If you guys are in the stream, hit the like button, kick this thing around. We're gonna keep blasting this thing. Okay, let's see. Like an Epstein solution. Not quite sure what you mean there, but I'm gonna assume that you would just like to see this thing figured out, and I would too. Like, again, Congress is the answer, guys. And for whatever reason, they passed this thing. I think only 1 person voted against it, like of all of Congress, and yet now that their law that was literally signed into law by the President of the United States is not being followed, suddenly they're not interested. It's like they passed it and then they forgot about it. Like, I cannot wrap my head around that. Like, what is that? How does that work? Like, tell me another instance in life where that would work. Like, it makes no sense to me. It's like, we passed this law, we're going to enforce this law, and then now that it's like the dog that caught his tail. It's like he caught his tail. He's got, no, what the fuck do I do with this? Same thing. We got this law passed. The president actually signed it. Well, what do we do with it? We can't put this stuff out because my buddy's in there, and I know someone else is in there, and then I paid this person off. He's in there. And when Trump says things like, well, we can't release these things because there's good people in there, it's like, that's not my fucking problem, guys. We passed a law. All those good people can get fucked. They can defend themselves when it's time to defend themselves. It's not my job to protect them from their horrible friends, right? You are an average of the people you hang out with. If you hang out with fucking scumbags, guess what? Odds are you're going to be a version of a scumbag. So these people, they need to defend themselves. So, okay, Son took back a message. Who's this? We got John Dean. John Dean, I hope that's your name. I say this all the time in my streams. I hope people really use their names in real life. You get a lot more cred with me. You get a lot more respect from me when you actually use your name, because you got a lot of people on here, they use these kind of goofball names, and there's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, if you're going to have conviction and you're going to put your opinion out there and really talk about something, put your name out there's a big deal, man. So I hope that's your real name. Okay. He says, where's the fishnet stocking on your lab? The fishnet stocking's there. It's just kind of hard to see. It's all there. So it's in perfect condition, John. It's a major award, man. Like, that lamb's sick. I like that lamb. I'm a big fan of Christmas Story. I love National Lampoon. Christmas is a big deal for me. I love Christmas time. The music, the smell of pine. That's like, I love when Christmas comes around. I love listening to Mariah Carey's Christmas songs every year. But anyway, we're not going to talk about Christmas too much. We do have a lot of great snow out here. So anyway, glad everyone's here today, and we'll kind of continue through messages. Let's do a couple more minutes of back and forth with you guys, and I'm going to read you guys a little bit more about what's going on with this whole Trump clusterfuck, as I call it. This going and grabbing other leaders from other countries, bombing other countries. Our Congress literally just passed a bill giving a whole bunch of money to groups that aren't even American, right? Like, we can't keep doing this, guys. At some point, we have to become America first again, at least for a while. Like, we can't, like, obviously shut off the rest of the world. I'm not trying to shut off the rest of the world, but America can absolutely patrol the waterways and keep, inter-country commerce going and all that kind of thing. Like, that's fine. But we don't have to float money to the rest of the world. We don't have to protect everybody in the rest of the world. It's like when you have a child, right? You have a child and you're constantly hovering over them, making sure that they're always protected. Guess what? Odds are your child's going to grow up to be a bitch, right? So we've been doing this to countries like Europe and Israel and all these countries forever. Like, let these people stand on their own 2 feet. We don't need to be paying for them. And it's not that we're becoming isolationists. It's just, hey, we're just not going to pay for you to defend yourself, right? When we pay for all these countries to defend themselves, guess what they get to do? They get universal health care. What? They get something like, 3 or 4 weeks off a year. Like, how do they afford that? Oh, yeah, they don't have to fucking defend themselves. That's right. Oh, and then you can have these, what I'm talking about, luxury beliefs. You can have all these goofy ideas because, again, you don't have to be willing to punch somebody in the face. You have to be willing to put a rifle in someone's face and go, get the fuck out of here. I'm going to murder you if you do this again. These countries, they don't have to do any of that. None of it. So again, they can have these luxury beliefs and they can pay for all this fun shit that we don't have here in America. Yet we always seem to give money. It's like, we don't give Europe money. Yeah. What do you think NATO is, guys? What do you think NATO is? We don't give NATO very much money. Well, what the fuck do you think it is that NATO is? It's our military, which costs $1 trillion a year. And this Trump guy, he just said he wants $1.5 trillion. Where do you think that comes from? Okay, that's why you don't have universal health care, right? That's why you can't make enough money here in America, because we outsourced all the real work to the third world. We got a lot of problems. We got to fix them all. And I think that Trump was supposed to come in and do some of that, and he's really dropping the ball, guys. Okay, who else we got? All right, Son's back in here. Let's see, these 3 guys: Alejandro Mayorkas, Judge Paul A. Agarwal, and Jeffrey. Yeah, you guys need to, if you guys don't remember who Alejandro Mayorkas is, he was was the director of Homeland Security, if I remember correctly. He's basically over the border. And this fucktard would go in front of Congress every single year, and they'd say, the border's not secure. And he would say, the border is secure. And they'd say, no, it's not. We got all these people coming in. And he'd say, the border is secure. According to the definition, blah, 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 the border is secure. And nothing ever happened to this guy. This guy did this 4 years in a row. Nothing ever happened to this guy. And every congressperson just took him. And, okay, well, I guess we can't do anything. Zero accountability. Again, why isn't Congress hauling this guy's ass up in front of Congress and saying, what the fuck happened? Now, I say this on a lot of streams because he is the guy that literally just stood in front of Congress all day, every day when he would go there, and he was just sat there like this the entire time, and Congress was like, yeah, well, I guess so, yeah, I guess border secure, I guess you're doing your job, great job, you're doing amazing, good work, here, why don't you get a raise, gonna write you all these commendations, now he probably works for some, outfit that supports the government, he probably makes 10 times as much money now than they did working for the government, and again, we allow this to happen, guys. We allow these people to go into government, completely fuck us over, and then they go in the private sector and make shit tons of money because they have all the network connections within the industry that they use to fuck all of us, right? So it's a bad deal. Anyway, sorry, I'm going on it's just a little bit of rant there. Okay, so who's this? We got World Free Speech in here. I got some little signs in here. I don't know what their signs mean, but I appreciate you putting it in here. Guys, hit the like button, add the discussion. We're gonna keep batting this around about Trump and his basically trying to hoodwink all of us with all this other bullshit that's going on. And again, I say this, guys, as a Trump supporter. I really believed in Trump. I voted for Trump, but he's really messing up, and I'm not happy with what I see going on today, So you don't have to like that. You don't have to like me, but that's just where I am. I put it out there for you guys. Okay, we've got Michael, is it Spone in here? DB9. He used the sock. That's pretty fun. I think I know where you're going with that. That's pretty good. I'm here and I can't see any fire. Okay, that's cool. And maybe that's what we need to hear, guys. Maybe we need more people in here who are normies over in Europe and they don't see any fires, because if you're an American here in America, right, all we see is that places like the United Kingdom are basically being ran over by immigrants, right? Your country can't have enough kids, right? So you're just letting tons of other people in there. I think the number one name in Britain was Muhammad, if I'm not mistaken. Like, how the fuck does that work? So who is this? This is HG, it's HG Budney. Tell me, how does that work, right? So if you're an Anglo-Saxon white country, how does the number one name in your country become Muhammad? How does that work? I can understand America because we're a country of immigrants. We're literally a melting pot from people that are all over the world, but it's not really that way where you're from. It's kind of weird, So maybe again, I could be way out of touch. Like I guess I don't know anything. I'm just a workaholic. Hello from Qatar. All right, man. Qatar. My wife was just on Qatar Airways. She just went to India and came back, and man, loved Qatar Airways. Qatar. And this is a whole other thing, guys. Again, who is this? This is Sad 1019. So you're in Qatar, dude. So I'm very curious. What is life like in Qatar as far as the way the rules are followed? Because from what I understand, in places like Qatar and Jordan and United Arab Emirates, all these places, that the rules are followed very strictly for the most part because there's not a lot of tolerance for what we in America call fuckery, right? There's none of that. You want to go outside the bounds of the rules, and you're going to potentially get yourself in trouble, So I'm very curious if my idea of what Qatar is actually, correct. So I personally don't have a problem with these countries that are essentially like monarchies, or they're countries that are very strict religious rules, because what they do really well is they outline what the rules are very clearly. And we have the same thing here in America, except that we don't follow them. We don't have a mechanism for the people to say, you know what, you passed a law, you need to follow that law. You're breaking the rules. You know what, if you break the rules, you're going to jail. And as a congressperson that doesn't demand that the laws and the rules be followed, the congress people are probably the ones that need to be going in jail. There's talk right now of having judges get thrown out of office and potentially thrown in jail when they let these criminals that have 30, 40, 50 convictions back out on the street, and then they kill someone or they commit a crime, which I think that's great. I think that's fantastic because, again, these judges, they choose not to follow the rules, which is what we have going on here today. We don't want to follow the immigration rules in America, and we have this idea that we can just follow, well, we want to follow this rule. This one's popular today. Well, getting close to election season, so we're going to kind of look the other way on this rule, and this helps us if we do this thing, and it's disgusting, guys. We have got to change this. Okay, let's see. We got IRAP21. Where are you going to go? I don't know if I said I was going to go somewhere, so let me know if you want to know what I mean in this conversation. We're going to talk about all the crazy things we have going on with the Trump administration today. that is deflecting from the Epstein thing. And when I started the stream originally, I read to you guys when the Epstein files were released and what was required of the release of those files, and our government has done none of it, right? They have no problem enforcing a rule, right? That Maduro guy in Venezuela, he apparently he had a warrant out for was a drug and like racketeering charge, and they went over and brought the entire military over there to enforce that rule, right? But they won't enforce the rules here in America, right? So the people that don't want to release those Epstein files and the things that Congress said that they needed to release, the thing that the president signed, no one seems to care. It's not that important, right? You want to go over there to another country like Iran, you want to go take a whole bunch of our United States military over there and drop a bunch of bombs. Like, we got all the time in the world for that. We got all the money for that. We got all of the accountability to go do that, but no accountability here. None. And it has got to stop. It is just wild how much stuff we don't enforce in this country. All right, so let's see. Is D. Jeremiah says hi. So, hello, good to see you. Glad you're here. Hit the like button. Again, add to the discussion, guys. Like, this is an important topic. Again, I'm happy to admit that I voted for Trump, but I've been very disgusted. And I don't know that it would have been any better voting for Kamala. But what I think actually happens, guys, is the Epstein files are a perfect example of why we need to release those files, right? Because whether you vote for Trump or you would have voted for Kamala, you're basically voting for shitty and shittier. And that's how it's been for a long time. You're not getting a better candidate by voting for this person or this person. You're just getting the two candidates that you're allowed to have, right? We're not allowed to have a candidate that would really enforce the rules, right? And I'll say this about Trump, like, he is actually trying to enforce the rules to a little bit of a degree, and we're seeing what the population is doing when you do that. They don't like it, right? They don't like the fact that the government is coming in and trying to enforce the rules, for which I clearly defined here that were broken, right? And again, we can pick and choose which rules we want to follow in this country, apparently. Like, again, but if you were just like, I don't feel like paying my taxes, it's not really that important. Guess what? They're going to come probably arrest you. They're at least going to garnish your wages. They may take your home if you're lucky enough to even own a home. They will enforce the rules upon you at the first opportunity they get. But if it's something that affects anybody in power, no fucking way. Not happening. You guys, it's kind of interesting. During the great financial crisis, right, 2008, nobody went to jail for that, right? All that crazy, shady shit that was going on with default swaps, nobody went to jail, right? When the COVID happened, right, all the crazy shit that happened during that time, like, again, nobody went to jail. Nobody was censured. Nothing happened to anybody in Congress, right? That Ben Shapiro guy, he literally had to sue OSHA because OSHA was going to come into our businesses and literally fine us if we didn't make sure everyone had shots. Like, really wild stuff, guys. Nobody went to jail for that shit. We got a lot of crazy things going on. All the shit that they did to Trump, again, you guys can think that they should have or they shouldn't have. I don't think that they followed the laws there at all. I think they changed the laws. I think they actually created laws to get that guy. And again, nobody's gone to jail or been brought up for questioning. It's just like this stuff never happens. If you're in politics, it's almost like you just got a free card to run roughshod over everybody. And it's not cool. The rules that apply to you and I need to apply to these people, okay? We have to follow the rules every day. These people need to follow the rules, especially the laws, right? If Congress passes a law, who is going to enforce these rules? If not Congress, right? Who's going to do it? And there's no interest. When we're 30 days out from this stuff needing to have been brought, it's not happening. Everyone's focused on the ICE agents going into Minnesota, right? Focused on snatching leaders out of other countries, bombing frickin' whatever other countries. I guess we were bombing Syria the other day. Now we're talking about taking Greenland. It's all crazy. We got our president over there talking shit at Davos, like, oh, you motherfuckers, you wouldn't be anything without us. If it wasn't for America, you guys need to respect us, blah, 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 blah. It's like, how can you ask another country to respect us when we don't respect ourselves? The rule of law is everything, guys. So, sorry, let's go. Let's keep going. Let's see, Bryant, this is Bryant Sposs, 1456. The problem is both from coalition of overall ideals, and it seems like if you want your issue covered, you got to fit in those stupid coalitions. Yeah, man, I think you're right. It's like you have to pick somebody that has a voice, and then you got to go side with that voice. And the shitty thing about it is, like, when you side with that voice, it does what I was talking about earlier. It's like, if you side with these people, well, that means you alienate everybody else. And that shouldn't be the case. Just because you happen to think one thing doesn't mean you automatically hate everything about everybody else. And the coalition thing is kind of a joke, I think you're 100% right there. That's a real good point. IRAP21, you appear to be very nervous. No, I'm not very nervous. What happens is when I talk on these streams, I start talking quickly because this is the thing that gets people's attention. I think that This is the thing for you guys. If you start talking on YouTube, you do a lot of talking like I do. You start to kind of learn to your brain naturally starts thinking quicker, and you start talking quicker. At least that's what I've noticed. I don't talk this way in real life, but when I get on these streams, I start talking quick. I start thinking quick. I start looking and reading while I'm talking, and so yeah, I will speed up, and it probably does look like I'm nervous. You guys probably see I have a little vein right there because I start talking kind of aggressively, you know, and I am drinking a little bit of coffee. But yeah, it's not nervous. It's just what happens when I start doing these streams. Okay. All right. Let's see. Random user N9P. Do you have kidnapped girls in your home dungeon? yeah, something like that, man. It puts the lotion on its skin. It puts the lotion on its skin. It's a Joe Dirt reference. Ah, so great. I love Joe Dirt. Life's a garden. Dig it. Okay. Let's see. Do you have a child? Yes. 3 of them. Okay. Let's see. Are you straight? Yes. Talk about Bigfoot while you spew conspiracy. Yeah, Bigfoot. So funny thing about Bigfoot is I'm actually from Oregon, right? And that's where all those conspiracy theories started. And then again, I used to hunt elk all the time. I'd go elk hunting every year, and I'd go Chinook salmon fishing, Chinook Spring salmon fishing every year. So I was constantly in like Hell's Canyon between Oregon and Idaho, you know, up on the Columbia River, down on the Rogue River. I mean, I was always in the woods and the forest. I never saw anything. Never saw nothing. Lots of black bear, tons of black bear, rattlesnakes, deer, elk, all these kind of things, you know, coyotes. But I never saw a mountain lion either. But yeah, Sasquatch, I don't know, man. I don't know if I'd buy Sasquatch. But it's so thick up there in the Pacific Northwest, guys. Like, I don't know if you've ever been in like a legit forest. But I mean, you're talking Doug firs that are, whatever, 120 feet tall. And there's, you know, thousands of miles of that shit. And they're all on the hills. Like, it's really rough terrain up there. All right, who else we got in here? Gorilla Nuts, talk about Bigfoot. Okay, that was you. I talked to you. Plasterhead 2261. When bro splitting mad facts, an app you can think about is how he humiliate y'all. The problems weren't serious about anything. Let's see, not even the president. Okay, well, Plasterhead, I'm not quite sure what you're saying there, but all right. What facts are he spitting? Okay, and this is the thing we were talking about earlier, guys. When we talk facts, right? Again, we don't all have to agree on what's good and what's bad, but we do kind of have to agree on the facts, right? So I literally just read to you the rules base for immigration into America. And I told you the way that you break the law, it's literally a violation at first, right? And it specifically says, unless you come through outside of a port of entry, then it becomes a felony, right? Then you've actually broken the law. You are technically a criminal. Right? And this is, again, it's right there in the text. And no matter what you do, sometimes people just won't take yes for an answer. They won't agree on what the facts are. They won't go check for themselves. They want to listen to some talking head, right? They're going to go listen to fucking Benny Johnson, you know, or they're going to go listen to Rachel Maddow or whatever because they can't take 10 seconds to go on Grok. And this is the greatest thing about living in the times that we live, guys, is that we have the internet, right? And again, some people say, oh yeah, the internet's all, okay, if everything's fake, then what's real? Like you tell me you're so dumb you can't figure out fact from fiction. Like I don't believe it. I think people want to believe what they want to believe. They want to go into an echo chamber and only hear what they want to hear, you know, and that's too bad. You know, like people need to get out and touch grass every now and again. Like go listen to something other than what you would normally listen to. Like even if you just want to claw your ears out, like go listen to it anyway. That way you at least have an idea of what the other side in our country is thinking about, what they're talking about. It's very helpful. And I don't think enough people do that. They just want to hear what they want to hear. And man, that's too bad. So who's this Justin Calstag? I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Is that a load-bearing wall behind you? Yes, it is absolutely a load-bearing wall. This is a 3-story house. We're in the basement right now. This is the west-facing wall that goes up all the way. There's a Mississippi River right out behind here, and it's freaking gorgeous. Okay, all right, so this is Tubaldigo. Not quite sure what that is. I like the way you think, sir. Maybe, I hope so. Like I said, I talk about politics on my live streams, right? I'm a business owner here in St. Louis, Missouri. I see a lot of shit, right? So when people try to tell me about the tax code, and people try to tell me about hiring and firing people, like I just laugh because that's literally my job. Like it's what I do, and I've done it for a decade now at this point. And so, yeah, but politics is important. It's important that people that are business owners that see a lot of things from a little bit of a different position than a lot of people, that we talk about this, guys, and we bat all these things around, man. I think it's really important. I think it's a difference between really shitty and a person that you might just smell something, but you don't know what it is. Yep, I agree with you again, sir. Let's see. Going through comments. Right? I'm trying to run through these things. They wanted to respect us in World War II. They let us stay in Greenland to do what we needed to do, but not now. I don't agree with you on this, sir. Well, okay, so you guys actually really want to talk about World War II? That's you're in my wheelhouse now. I can talk about World War II all day long. Wow, have we fallen from grace? World War II was I mean, let's not get into freaking World War II. I like your lamp. Thanks, dude. I put it all in most of my videos. It's everyone kind of has a thing. There's my thing. It's the stupid leg lamp. But yeah, love Christmas Story. Okay, Son's in here. Son's following for a long time, man. Son's cool, dude. Appreciate you being here. Okay. The same sort of people who cooked up the term melting pot leave the border open. Yeah, man, that's a great point. They also own the NGOs, which put random management. Yeah, and this whole NGO thing, like, I don't know how much you guys know about these kind of things, but when you're sending money to a group that operates outside of America, like, we got to knock that shit off, man. Like, what can you guys do with an extra 25% of your money back? Like, you hear all these people say, oh, we need money for this, we need money. Everyone needs money for everything. You know who actually needs money? The citizen. The person that's on this stream right now, it's like, if you're one of these people that thinks, well, no, we got to take from the rich, the rich, the rich, the rich, rich. Like, how about we start with the government? Let's just start there. Because guess what? The government doesn't make a motherfucking thing. All these billionaires and millionaires and people that they love to hate, right? These people actually make shit. And you might not like it. I'm not saying that I agree with everything that they do, but I think we can all agree the government creates nothing, okay? Nothing. They're just a suck on the citizen, okay? And it's hilarious to me that we literally went to war over a 3% tax on tea, and now we can't even seem to push back on the federal government because there's so many people that's like, no, we need money for this, we need money for that. It's like, you fucking paid for it. You want a ton of money for your pet project? Go get a fucking job, go make some goddamn money, create something that other people will pay you for instead of trying to take it from the people that have went and done that. I'm so tired of everyone wanting money. And so what you're saying about the NGOs, so true, man. Fuck these people. I'm tired of them putting all this pork bullshit into these bills and then raking us over the coals for 30, 40, 50% of our money. Okay, not cool. And again, if we can't agree on that, guys, this is another one of those issues where we're gonna fight. It's getting to a point where Sonny, you'll appreciate this. You guys know how we were talking about doing a tax strike here about 3 weeks ago? It was all over the place. Everyone was like, fuck this, we're done paying taxes. Until the federal government passes an audit, we're not paying taxes anymore. They're like, oh, all the Somalis in Minneapolis, like, what a distraction, what a joke. Oh, they got $4 billion. Federal government blows, I bet the federal government blows $2 trillion a year, easily. And the average citizen isn't like, you know what, stop fucking giving them money. They're so worried about what the other guys got. They're not thinking about what the federal government is stealing from you. Their head is so poisoned, they can't figure it out. And I can't wrap my head around that. Like, would you want the federal government to fuck the rich guys so bad that you're willing to let them take all your money? Or are you not making enough money for yourself that actually you're sucking off the government too? So everyone's just gonna suck off the government so they can steal from the rich people? I'm here to tell you guys, as someone that sells a lot of shit to a lot of people, I'll tell you what happens when everyone that's rich leaves. They're all gonna leave. Okay? People that live in New York right now, we're seeing what happens when you put a socialist there, right? Everyone's getting ready to leave. They got more people moving to Miami, Florida right now than they've ever seen in their life. Do you think COVID was bad? Everyone's leaving Florida now. Or, New York now, right? California, same deal. They're looking to pass that billionaire tax. Guess what? Everyone's gonna bail. California is the most beautiful state in our country, and you got billionaires threatening to leave. Like, these people can buy anything they want, but they're like, fuck you, I'm not giving you any more money. You're not gonna take from me and give to a bunch of illegal immigrants. Like, it's not gonna happen. And again, the homeless situation. Where's the accountability on homeless? I'm going to go off on a tangent here for a second, guys. The whole homeless thing, like I said, I'm from Oregon, right? We saw that California mindset come up into Oregon. Well, guess what? Now we've got all those fucking people all over the place in Portland, right? And then it went up into Washington, right? Fucking Seattle's a joke. I wouldn't even go to Seattle anymore. It's disgusting what's going on there. Portland, that's my hometown. Disgusting. Los Angeles, disgusting. And they let this shit happen. Okay? The taxpayer shouldn't have to pay for that shit. When the governors in these states say, oh, we're going to take billions and billions of dollars and we're going to give it to the homeless. We're going to help the unhoused. Like, what a fucking joke. These aren't unhoused people. These are drug addicts. These are people that cannot help themselves. And instead of helping them, there becomes these industries that help the homeless and help the unhoused and help the drug people. In fact, they don't help anything. They're sucking off of the taxpayer. Like, you've got to turn the taxes off. The taxes need to stop until we know exactly where the money's going. If the military cannot pass an audit for the last 8 years, guess what? No more fucking money. And they'll say, oh, you got to pay for the military. No, I don't. No, the fuck I don't. You think any country's going to try and invade America? America is the country that has a gun behind every blade of grass. Good fucking luck. I'll take my chances. Let me have my money back. And that will put the fear of God into those people, and you will see change. But until you cut off that money, ain't going to happen. And as long as we got people that are willing to say, well, you know what? Fuck the rich guy. We need to tax him more. Okay? There's no rich person, I hate to tell you guys this, you're going to hate hearing this. There's no rich person that breaks the law when it comes to taxes. They pay every fucking dollar they're supposed to, right? And I'm all about accountability. I talk to you guys very early on the stream. All my streams, it's all about accountability, following the letter of the law. You want to take all their money? Do it, but pass a law. Fix the tax code, because guess what? We all have CPAs, we all have tax accountants, we all have wealth advisors. We follow the letter of the law because nobody wants to break the rules that's wealthy, because they'll come for you. They're the first people they'll come from because you got something to take. No one goes after the poor people, the unhoused people, the people that fucking have nothing, because you got nothing to take. There's nothing to take. So anyway, you guys just get me so worked up sometimes. Okay, so son, keep it on, man. Yeah, melting pot. I like the term melting pot, son. I think that's what makes this country great, is we let all these cool people in here and they create all this cool shit. You know, the funny thing about it is, like, every group of people, like every race of people, like, really brings something to the table, you know. And some people don't like when you say those kind of things, but it's true. You know, I just, like, there's something about being in America. Like, we've literally created everything, you know, and you'll always get somebody who'll always say, well, so-and-so created this country created that. It's like, get the fuck out of here, man. On a numbers basis, America's created everything, you know, and that's because of the culture that we have here in America. You know, it's not to discount what other people have created. I'm sure there's lots of other things being created in other countries, you know, most notably Germany. But America creates pretty much everything. Like, everything we're doing right here, this is all American companies, guys. Everything. That lamp behind me, that's an American industry. The only thing that's not American is the country that probably made it was Chinese, right? But the company that owns that lamp is definitely American, you know. And again, people don't like me to say that, but take some pride in your country, guys. Like, I'm willing to say it. America's the greatest fucking place on earth. The greatest place that ever existed. Greatest military that's ever existed. The greatest economy that's ever existed. And it's because we bring people in here. But we do it following the rules. It wasn't until we stopped following the rules that America started to really have problems. You know, I hope people can see that. So, all right, son says, let's see, not that all immigrants is bad, but yeah, son, man, you and I, we both agree, man. I think a lot of us agree. We're kind of simpatico on this issue. There's nothing wrong. I love immigrants. I married an immigrant. Like, immigrants are great people. They bring great things to this country. But you can't run a country when you just let them come in willy-nilly. You got to have a sorting mechanism. Like, I've told the story many times. Like, I tried to immigrate to New Zealand in 2015 or 2016. I love being there so much. It's the most beautiful place on earth. It's like California, but an entire country. And the people, the Kiwis are wonderful people. And the thing about New Zealand that was so cool is that these people have this idea that we can make it here. And as a fabricator and a maker of things, I love to fix stuff. Those people were my people. It's like, man, I should have been born here, because they don't like the idea of another country coming in and providing them with something. They'd rather make it themselves. It's a very unique culture. I mean, super cool place. But when I applied there, I thought, you know, I'm a cabinet maker. I'm cool. I was here putting in interiors and jets. You know, I make decent money. You know, I don't have any, you know, debts of any kind, really. It's like I wasn't bringing anything bad into the country, nothing like that. And when I applied for my citizenship there, the first thing it says, what do you do? And I was like, I'm a furniture maker. I was here helping you guys make furniture and install interiors into your big jets here for New Zealand Air. And they're like, you know what? We don't need furniture makers. Bye. I wasn't like, wait a minute, hold on. It's like I'm pretty useful, man. Like, I'm not going to suck off you guys. I'm not going to do it. And they're like, no, we don't need your type. It's like, but I'm white. Like, everyone wants white people. Nope. They want nothing to do with me. And we really need to have a version of that here in America. Like, and we did that for a long time. It's like, if you had something to offer this country, come on in. We'd love to have you. But you can't have a welfare system that just lets these people suck off the system, right? It's like you got to have a job. You got to have a need to be here. A company needs to sponsor you to bring you into this country. This idea that we're just have a bunch of freaking refugees here. It's like basically we go bomb a country, right? And then we bring in all its people to America. Like you can't operate that way. I'm sorry, you just can't. You got to have useful people and people that fill a need for your country. And we need stuff all the time, And it's supposed 350 million people we got here. I mean, we always need something, So anyway, that's my immigration story. I always thought it was kind of funny. Let's see. Seth Fisher-Lott's in here. Seth, good to see you, dude. Who else is there? There's more sun. Okay, I wonder if my message got auto-filtered. I'm not even swearing. Yeah, some of your messages get it shows me that they're like redacted or removed or whatever. So I don't know what's up with that. But yeah, just keep trying, man. Yeah, people don't like when you use the word Epstein. Like there's something, I mean, just the sheer fact that there's so much conspiracy around that name is almost all you need to know. And how many conspiracy theories during COVID did they tell us, oh, that's not true. Trust the experts. If I ever hear the word the experts again, like I'm just gonna fucking shoot myself. Like it's disgusting what these people are allowed to get away with. And again, no accountability, zero accountability. Like when you literally were banning people, you were threatening to put people in jail. You remember all the people on the news, you were saying, oh, don't help the people that didn't get vaccinated. Those people could die. Like it was just wild times, like I said, and zero accountability, absolutely zero. So keep trying, son. I'm sure your comments will come through. All right, who we got? Jesse's 8888 in here. The low point was liberals defending soft power spending projects. These same people complaining about American imperialism. That's a fantastic point. Yeah, I personally, I don't want to be an imperialist country. We had the opportunity to do that after World War II. I mean, we literally could have taken over the entire world. And people don't give that enough. People don't give that enough weight. America literally destroyed everyone that could have kept us from taking over the world. And all we did was rebuild everything. That's all we did. We passed this thing called the Marshall Plan. We rebuilt everything. We took all the waterways. Our Navy protected all the waterways. We started to bring commerce into the rest of the world. The reason America was so rich is because we were the only ones left that could manufacture anything. So when we gave all that money to Europe to rebuild itself, we also made everything because we had such a large manufacturing base. And it's ironic that we have no manufacturing base today, and our country is $37 trillion in debt, right? Most people can't afford to own a home. Everyone was given printed money to go to college, and then when they got to college, they don't know what to do. They don't have a real fucking skill. No real work, So not enough people are thinking, well, we might need to go back to the way things used to be, because the way we went moving forward, everyone talks about like the golden 50s, right? This is like the most amazing time. We're not trying to get back to that. We're trying to become a service sector economy. And when you have a bunch of service sector people, guess what? Everyone's depressed. Nobody wants to provide services, especially men. Men want to make shit. Men want to fix shit. Men want to conquer. Men want to go out and crush it. We're very different. We created a country of Nancys, man. A bunch of women. That's what academia's done to everyone. And people don't have to agree with me. That was just that's my biases. So anyway, we'll continue the conversation. Okay. But Jesse, man, that's a fantastic point. I don't know what you think about imperialism in general, but I don't want to take over the world. I don't want to, tell everyone what to do. I like that we have a lot of these different cultures and they all kind of have their own flavor and their own style. I think that's good for our world to have some different opinions. The thing that I equated to is like during COVID, I talked about how we had all these states. We had 50 states that were basically petri dishes, right? These are all people, oh, we're going to try and do this, and this country's going to try and do that, and we're going to kind of see what works. Well, we didn't do that. We took the country that we basically went with the might is right kind of situation. Like, we're the federal government, we're going to tell you guys what to do. Meanwhile, Florida's like, well, we got a ton of old people, and we're doing okay. And then you had fucking California, who didn't have a ton of old people. Actually got a lot of young people. They did something completely opposite, and I think they had more deaths than anyone. It's like, so it's not saying that anyone is right or wrong, but it's like you got to let people do their thing, stand back, see what happens, and then start to come up with a solution. But we don't do that, man. We don't do that. Like, let every country do its own thing. That's kind of how I'm at. Okay, so that's see, Seth Fisher. A lot of that's a true statement, sir. Yeah, I don't know. I hope so, man. Baton Rouge Lacquer in here. All right, man. Baton, I was talking about you yesterday. I did a stream talking about how to start a lacquer business, how to start a furniture company with a guy who was wanting some information. But yeah, I think I referenced you a couple of times in that one. So hopefully it helped him, and I think that that the conversations we've had have helped you. It seems like your product's looking really good. Whether I'm a part of that or not, I don't know, but your product's looking good nonetheless. So good on you, man. Okay, Son says, I did remove one message. I think it hides messages with certain. Yeah, it probably does, Son. It's kind of how it is. I think the world debt is 350 trillion. Yeah, there's everyone's working on printed money. If people, again, and maybe again as a business owner, I was able to kind of see this, but what you had during COVID that was so disgusting was you had just an insane amount of money being pushed into the economy and being pushed into every economy in the world. And what that allowed to happen was it allowed for the proliferation of people that weren't really making money to buy up everything, to buy up all the businesses, to basically bring in all the best workers, to keep all the workers. It created demand for things that there would have never been demand for. And it really gave us a false illusion of what was going on. Once COVID went away, you notice that like tons of people went out of business, like just a massive amount of businesses going out of business, because they weren't real. These weren't cash flowing businesses. The only way that these businesses could stay afloat would be to take out a loan, right? You take out a loan, you pay yourself with that loan, right? You sell some product, take out another loan, right? Continue to pay yourself. And the cycle works because money was basically free. And then when that free money dried up, you now are back to whatever 6-7% interest rates. If you don't make money, guess what? You're done. If you don't cash flow, you are done. And that's what actually needs to happen. We need more of that to happen today. Yeah, so anyway. Okay, more comments coming in. So Batten's in here. It's about money at the end of the day. Operate small and set boundaries for charge enough to do anything for a particular customer. Yeah, that's a good point, man. Like, you got to make money. You can't do things you can do things for free, in certain little things, but yeah, you can't run your business at a loss every year and maintain your business. It's impossible. It's impossible. So Batten, good on you, man. But yes, you've been, okay, cool. I hope I'm helpful, so that's the important thing. So cool, man. I worked through the comments finally. So, okay, so let's get back into some of these topics so Trump's just distracting like a mofo. like it's actually wild how much shit this guy can stir up while nobody is demanding the release of the Epstein files that were, again, December 19th. They were passed into law. These were supposed to be released on that date. Nobody's interested, because all these people that are in government or have been in government are implicated, and they're all linked together. And so, yeah, so let's talk about Greenland. Let's talk about immigration, let's talk about Venezuela. Let's talk about, giving everybody, don't you guys love the free checks? We're going to give you $2,000 tariff checks. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, what is going on? Or you got Elon Musk talking about we're going to have high UBI. It's like, what are we doing? Like, who is setting the agenda for the things that need to be done in this country from a governmental standpoint? Like, I don't know about you guys, but I'm at the point where I think that we just need to literally cut off the taxes. Like, I'm sorry, if you're on welfare, done. We're cutting it all off. The military, everything's going to be cut off, and we're going to zero-based budget. We're going to start with the most important thing, and we're going to rebuild the entire budget. And here's the thing. If you can't pass an audit every year, guess what? You're either too big or you're too dumb. Either way, you got to go away, and we'll start over. Happy to start over, but at some point, we got to cut everything off and start over. Government's too big. It's just, it's too big. I don't know what else to do, And again, when you have this many people in the government spending this much money, there's going to be honeypots, right? There's going to be blackmail. There's going to be coercion. There's going to be all kinds of things to get people to do what it is that you want to do. Like, I've spent a lot of time lately talking about how corporations basically pay off lobbyists to bring about more EPA rules, more OSHA rules, any kind of regulation they can possibly pass. Things like they're trying to raise the minimum wage. Like, they're always trying to get wages up here in America, because if the wages are high and the regulations are high, guess who that hurts? It doesn't hurt the big company. It hurts the small guy, right? The guy that wants to start a business with, 2 or 3 employees, if you got to have a spray booth with, crazy halon systems, and you got to have all the cradle to grave for all your different kinds of waste, and you got to have, all your MSDS sheets, and you got to have all your training, you got to make sure your respirators are in great shape, all your table saws got to have right blades, your drill presses got to have blades, everything's got to have guards and blades and dust collection, and it starts to snowball. It's like, well, then there's all the electrical regulations, all the fire regulations. You start stacking all of these regulations, and guess what? Adam, you might be a good person to talk about this, but as a small business owner myself, and you're a small business owner as well, like if you keep stacking all these regulations on here, how much more expensive and difficult is it for you to expand your business? And this is the thing, that we keep doing this to ourselves. Meanwhile, all of these people, these large corporations that are putting the information in the ear of the politicians, they're sending the work overseas where they have none of that, right? And that the delta that I'm always talking about, $250 and $32.50 an hour, right? This is the delta between what we pay in the third world and what we pay in America. And they use that money to keep you, the small business owner, from being able to compete with them. And so I'm gonna preach it like a broken record, man. Let's see here. I see. Sorry, dude. I know I'm using your name. I probably shouldn't. So Batten says, I don't do any stripping on furniture and had to rip my spray booth. What? You had to rip your spray booth out? I paint in a tent. Oh, man. Increasing minimum wage does not cause inflation. No, I think you're right. But yeah, interesting, Batten. I'm kind of curious. I'm curious why that is. So in order for us, like, we actually got shut down by the city before I actually came into working on this business. The city came in and shut us down because we didn't have a spray booth. This funny thing is, the inspector actually was a fan of my wife and followed her on Facebook and saw that my wife was painting furniture and had a business, came in and shut her down. Like some bitch who's never sprayed anything in her life, doesn't know anything about sanding, nothing about spray and paint, just knows that it was a code violation, came in and red tagged the business, shut it down. So now you got a bunch of people who can't get a fucking paycheck by some inspector who knows nothing about the business, right? The taxes that pay her fucking salary, she literally came in and shut her down. I was like, what is going on? So yeah, and then when it comes time to, like, well, so you shut me down because I don't have a spray booth. Okay, well, how do I do that? Where do I go? What are the things I need to do? Zero help. They don't want to help you at all. It's like, either you figure it out for yourself and become compliant and then call us back, and we'll come back when it's convenient and make sure that you can start your business again. Really, it's so messed up. I've told that story a couple of times, but that literally almost killed the business. So fortunately, we're able to work around and get it figured out, and she was able to stay in business. But man, scary times, very scary. So, okay, Matt says, I paint the tent. Samuel says, increasing minimum wage does not cause inflation. I'm going to come back to that. What's Batten saying? Can't say too much about it, but something similar. Yeah, it's you definitely got to be careful. This is one of the things that I tell people when you're wanting to start a small business, that you do have to you got to follow the rules. And I always tell you guys that, like, the larger you get, the larger your corporations become, they send the work to the third world because they don't want to comply, right? There's too many rules, there's too many regulations, it gets too expensive. And so it's much easier just to send to the third world where they don't have that stuff. When you send all your painting and your furniture to Shenzhen, guess what? The fucking chemicals go in the goddamn Xinjiang River, whatever the hell it's called. I forget what it's called. Whatever the Three Gorges Dam is at. But anyway, yeah, so it's messed up. So if you're have an entrepreneurial instinct and you want to start a business here, you got to know all the rules, right? And they'll always say, well, ignorance is no excuse. Any inspector can walk into any business and find a ton of shit wrong, because it's impossible for business owners to know everything. And that's the problem with government, is they expect you to know the 54,000 pages of the Code of Federal Regulations before you start your business, which is fucking retarded. Okay, it's absolutely retarded. The federal government's job, if anything, is to help you to be successful, not to put you out of business, not to slow you down, not to threaten you. Their job is to help you to become productive members of society so that you can pay more taxes to pay their fucking salaries. But they don't want to do that, So, man, I think I went on a total tangent there. We're supposed to be talking about Trump, and this is the micro level of what the government does, what these taxes do. It literally inhibits people from being able to start businesses, and it scares people into starting businesses, especially if you start fucking with OSHA and the EPA. It can really mess people up, So anyway, that's what okay. So increasing minimum wage does not cause inflation. So here's the thing about minimum wage. And again, people don't like it when I say this. And again, we got a couple small business owners in here, so you guys can tell me if I'm correct or if I'm full of shit. No business pays minimum wage. I'll wait. No business pays minimum wage. Okay, and everyone will inevitably say, well, I know so-and-so. Yes, there are a handful of businesses that will pay people minimum wage if we can. But guess who businesses pay minimum wage to if they can? The people they're trying to kick out of Minnesota. That's who gets paid the low wages that they possibly can, okay? Very hard to pay an American worker minimum wage. Almost impossible. And here's the thing, states have their own minimum wages, right, which come before federal minimum wages. Okay, so like here, I think we're in Missouri, we're 15 bucks an hour, right? So nobody's making 7.25 an hour. 15 bucks an hour here in Missouri, you know, I think that's a fair starting wage. That's a young person's wage, in my opinion. But you know, I don't think that the minimum wage causes inflation. You know, we just raise the prices on things. People can agree or disagree with me about this, but what I'm here to tell you guys is that people talk a lot about inflation, what causes inflation, and I think people don't actually understand how inflation really works. The only way you can inflate anything, the only way you can inflate the money, right? The only way you can inflate the cost of goods is through the printing of money. It's the only way, right? And people say, well, tariffs cause inflation. The difference between something like a tariff and inflation is the president can immediately say, you know what, no tariffs, done, that's it. Try and do that with inflation from money printing. It's impossible, you can't do it. It's impossible, you know, and again, people just call anything inflation now. Like, we're so dumb that we think that anything that causes the price to go up, that's inflation. You know, there's also things like collusion, right? You get a lot of companies, you know, take like the meat industry, you get, you know, Cargill and Smithfield and Tyson and all these, they all kind of collaborate together to fix prices, okay? That's not inflation. That's very different, right? But we just think anything that causes the price to go up is inflation. You get the minimum wage for employees. If those go up, well, then they have to raise the prices on everything else. That's inflation. It's not inflation, man. It's just the cost of doing business. These things are very different. You know, the only thing that causes real inflation oh gosh, who's the god of monetary stuff? Milton Friedman. Milton Friedman said it himself. Like, it's only the federal government can cause real inflation, right? And the Fed can crush inflation by causing interest rates to go up, kill demand, cause the price of everything to come down, right? Pull the money supply back into the Fed, get all that printed money out of the system, you'll get inflation to come down. It happens all the time, but it takes years to do it. Tariffs take the snap of your fingers. The tariff today can be completely different than the tariff tomorrow, and we've seen it. We've lived through it, you know. So again, I agree that wages don't cause inflation at all. You know, the cost of business has nothing to do with inflation. You know, it's the federal government printing money. It's things like the Fed that have caused the cost of everything to go through the roof through easy dollars, right? Money that is printed is never respected. You know, so another thing that causes inflation, when you don't let businesses go out of business, they tend to artificially raise the cost of everything, because it's like a forest that's full of mature trees, right? If the trees get too tall, nothing can grow below because there's no light, right? These businesses, they have to be allowed to go out of business so that new business models, new ideas, new kind of entrepreneurs can thrive and can grow. And these businesses don't want that. A lot of people do not want the small businesses coming through and creating a new economy. You want to see the price of stuff go down? Let some fucking businesses grow, okay? You can't do it. If you don't have competition, the only thing that happens is prices go up. You know, you want to make more money? Let small businesses come into play. Small businesses pay their people better than big businesses in the aggregate, right? A lot of people say that big businesses are always going to pay better, and in a lot of cases that is the case. But if you have twice as many small businesses now as go on Google and just map how many small businesses did we have 50 years ago versus how many we have today. What you'll find out is that we have about the same amount of small businesses, but the large corporations have grown, meaning they have an exorbitant amount of the market share. And this has made it very difficult for small businesses to thrive, to grow, to prosper, to create new products, new services, right? Train people. Small businesses train people. My old boss used to get all pissed off. He's like, we train all these young people so they can leave and go to the big businesses, you know, and there's a lot of truth to that, you know, but when we allow old businesses to constantly get bailed out, you know, to constantly have regulations that allow them to stay in business, very difficult for small business to compete, you know. So anyway, that's okay. Let's see. Son's in here. So the minimum wage is always downstream from debasing currency. Printing money is yeah. And again, yeah, son. I mean, you and I were simpatico on this one. It's just the printing of money is just it's going to be the death of our country if we don't stop. Like the Fed's got to go. You know, this idea that I know why the Fed is here, son. Like I agree that the Fed did have a purpose. Like people just couldn't handle the swings. They couldn't handle, massive, 10, 20% unemployment rates when you'd have a bust, right? People don't want to deal with that. It was too much for them. And unfortunately, like, it needs to come back because now there's no bust. If you guys notice, we haven't had a real crash. And I mean, the last real crash I remember personally was 9/11. That was the last time I saw like everything stop. Even during the great financial crisis, like businesses were still going. There was still an economy. Things were fine. They weren't fine. They were bad, but they weren't that bad. But now there's never been anything like it. I mean, even during COVID should have been a massive bust, right? You want to shut the economy down? Shut the fucking economy down. But they didn't want to do it. They wanted the economy to still work. They just wanted it to work for big business, right? And then guess what? They gave everybody shit tons of money, which was printed, $11 trillion. And then guess what? You can spend it at the big businesses. That's what we did. Big businesses' stock went through the roof. They crushed all the small businesses. I read somewhere something like over 100,000 small restaurant businesses went out of business during COVID. Like, what the fuck is going on there? You still got Buffalo Wild Wings. They're still here, right? You still got Five Guys. They're still here. A lot of businesses, they got plenty of money. Olive Garden, they're able to get loans, fat loans, right? They can get big lines of credit, right? They got tons of investors with tons of money. They can weather not making money for years if they have to. Doesn't happen with a mom and pop business. Doesn't happen with small business. Generational businesses. The guy that starts a business so that he gets his kids working in there with him, like, he's fucked, right? The guy that got a business from his dad, whatever, 20, 30, 40-year-old business, 10 employees, you turn the business off for that guy, he's fucked. Not the big business. Big business has all the money that they want and all the lobbying that they want, so it's a massive problem. But anyway, sorry guys, we really went off a tangent there, but we're 75 minutes. So the whole Trump thing, right? So I think Trump is purposefully dragging this immigration thing, right? If Trump had any balls and if Trump really cared about the things that he ran on in 2024, he would be going into every state. He'd be going to the job sites. He'd be going to the Home Depots. He'd be going to the restaurants. He'd be going to the places where we all know the illegal immigrant labor is. He'd be going to the hotels, starting with Trump Hotel, and he'd be going to there and he'd just be grabbing people left and right because it's not hard to see them, And again, are you going to get some people that are regular citizens? Of course. But again, as a society, you were okay with letting 2.5 million people in the country every year for a decade, But now you lose your fucking minds when half a dozen people get wrangled up that aren't supposed to be wrangled up. Like, you can't run a society like that. You can't let wild bad shit happen over here, and then when a little tiny bit of bad shit happens here, you lose your mind. You can't run a country like that. So I think Trump's slow rolling this thing and purposefully doing this stuff. So again, we don't think about the Epstein files, which again, Congress passed that just recently, right? We don't think about this tax revolt that was huge news 3 weeks, a month ago. I mean, that was everywhere. Now suddenly we're not talking about this tax revolt, right? Let's go into Venezuela and take a dictator out of a sovereign country because we convicted this Maduro guy of a crime here in America like a couple of years ago, right? Like, we're going to go use the entire military to go get that guy, but we can't release the Epstein files that are in our own fucking country in the government that passed the files to be released. Like, what? Like, that again, and I voted for Trump. Like, I like Trump as a guy. I like his attitude. I like the fact that he's filed for bankruptcy, got back up, started again, failed, got back up. I love that kind of stuff. I love that with anybody. But this guy is crooked as it gets, right? And he's, in my mind, is fast becoming a criminal. And not because of that bullshit that happened in New York. That's all fake. I know that's all fake. You can't charge somebody. You can't... The people that will allege that you raped them 30 years ago, if you're not willing to come and you have an obligation as a citizen, when that shit happens, go file a fucking police report, right? If you want there to be accountability, there has to be, it starts with you, right? It starts with you. And these people, they chalk up these charges with this guy, pass, get these courts, that of course are gonna convict this guy. They fucking hate him, right? That's all bullshit. And we can't have that kind of stuff in our country. But at the same time, you can't pass rules and laws at the federal level and then just not enforce them. You can't have it. And this guy is just, it's bad. It looks bad. It is bad, and again, as a fairly right-leaning kind of person, I'm not isolationist, but I'm tired. I'm tired of spending all of our money. I'm tired of not following our rules. I'm tired of letting the rest of the world into this country. Anyone that wants to come can come in here, take all our shit. We're gonna give you a place to live. We're gonna give you food. We're gonna give you medical. We're gonna let you go to our schools. We're gonna do all these kind of things. Yet, if you're a legal immigrant, you came into this country legally. Guess what? You don't get access to all that shit. They won't even let you in this country unless you can support yourself. Unless of course you're a refugee. But again, we don't care about any of that. And then again, you get ICE coming in and say, you know what? We're gonna go get these guys, and then everyone loses their shit, right? You got a guy just got shot in Minneapolis, right? I don't know what to tell you, man. Like you point a gun at a cop, you're done. You run your car at a cop, you're done. And that's what we pay the cops for. Like, I'm sorry. If you're one of these people, you're so mad and you're so irrational that you're going to go fight a cop or put a cop in jeopardy. Like, I'm sorry, you get what you deserve. We put a certain amount of authority into our police officers, and then we want to hold them accountable because we have video of what they were doing. Like, they don't have video of what they're doing. They're in that moment. And you can't treat these guys the same way as you would treat someone with a camera watching from afar. And I hate this shit. It's disgusting. But it's all about, we're super concerned about the illegal immigrant. We're super concerned, about the community where the illegal immigrant resides. We're super concerned about all that stuff. We're not super concerned that these people are breaking the rules. They're stealing from our country, right? And it's not just Somalis, it's anybody. If you come in here from Europe, you come here from France, you come here from Australia, wherever. Like, we got rules here, plain and simple. And if we're not going to follow, whether it's the illegal immigrant coming in or the President of the United States or Congress, we cease to have a country. We cease to have a country. So until we can follow the rules according to how we pass them, right? When a president signs a bill that is written into law by our Congress, or is drafted by Congress, passed by our president, and we just look the other way, like, we don't have a country, guys. And then at the same time, if you don't pay your taxes, guess what? They're going to come to your fucking door. I've seen it. They'll garnish your wages. They will literally take money out of your bank account. They'll take it. They're not going to ask. If they say you owe us and you're like, go fuck yourselves, they're going to come take it. And if you don't let them take it, they're going to find you and they will absolutely put you in jail. Just ask Wesley Snipes. Like, it happens, And so again, we love to talk about the rule of law, and we love to talk about how, accountability and all these kind of things. And I'm here to tell you guys that our politicians are not following the rules. And the citizens don't care because they're worried about some fucking person in Minnesota. Like, I don't give a fuck about Minnesota. I could care less. Those people can steal all the money they want. I want to know who's in the Epstein files. I want the military to pass an audit. I want the Fed to stop printing money. We do those things, and then you can go after all the people in Minnesota. You can go after a paltry $4 billion. You can go after, all the theft in California, right? You can go after all those people. You can go after all the theft in whatever state you want. You go after all of them, Texas, Florida, any state you want. It starts with the big stuff. And it's the easiest to see. We see it every day. And you got people like Thomas Massey talk about it all the time, and they talk about this guys who Trump actually calls this guy names and says he shouldn't be in Congress. And how can he say that? I don't understand how can you sleep at night saying those kinds of things when you know good and well that you're not abiding by the law. You're just like, oh, I don't want to enforce that law. I'm going to force another law. Yet the average citizen can't do that. Like, that's not America. That's not what our country was founded on. And for some reason, it makes me so sad, guys. And again, if you guys are in the discussion, add to the comments. Let's bat it around some more. Let me know what you guys think is going on with this whole Epstein thing and this whole tax revolt thing. Why is all this shit happening around the country now and around the world, and those two issues seem to have disappeared? Because that's what I see. Like, that tax issue is the most important issue to me. I've said it for as long as I can remember. Cut off the taxes. Cut them all off. No more taxes to the federal government. We all agreed that we were going to be ruled, or not ruled, but we were going to be governed by the federal government a long, long time ago. All the states agreed to it. The federal government has broken that pact. It's literally been broken. The money needs to go back to the states, and we can rebuild the federal government. But it's got to stop, because they're never going to abide by the rules, guys. They're never going to apply the rules to themselves that they apply to us, right? And it's hilarious how we got all these Congress people. You find out that they're rich as fuck, right? Making $174,000 a year. You know, it's like, I make that kind of money and I don't have nearly the wealth that these guys got. I barely have a freaking savings account or retirement. These guys got everything, you know? So I don't know how they're making their money, but it's shit's really crooked, you know? So anyway, let's hear what you guys have to say. Okay, let's get in here. So I'm gonna take a sip of my cool coffee at this point. I need my wife to go microwave for me. All right, I'm glad everyone's here. Hope everyone's doing good in all this crazy weather we got going on. All right, let's back up here. Let's see. Patton says I can't say too much about that. Son was talking about the minimum wage. Yep, I saw that one. You and me, son, we're simpatico on a lot of this stuff. I'm emotionally exhausted, embarrassed to be Jewish. What does that even mean? This is Inhumane Society 19. What does that mean? Why are you embarrassed? Nothing wrong with being Jewish. Yeah, elaborate on that one. You know, I don't know what you're meaning there. We got a lot of Jew talk in this country, you know, and I don't know that we should have as much as that. I mean, I got a lot of Jew clients and Jewish clients, whatever you want to call them, and it all seem like great people to me, you know. So I don't know what the big deal is. Like, I'm not a big fan of giving all this money to Israel, and I'm not a big fan of moving our military all over the world. I think that is just disgusting. It's not my job to go fight your war. Not cool with that. You know, it's like, you want to come fuck with me? Like, we'll have that discussion. We'll come and wipe you off the map. I'm not going to go wipe another country off the map for some other country. Not happening. Like, you come fuck with me, we'll deal with it. But I don't like what we're doing. I'm not a fan. So please elaborate on that. So but yeah, man, you should be proud to be Jewish, man. Fucking Jews are awesome. You kidding me? Okay, son says become a Christian. God, don't start that shit, son. He said 100%. All right, who's this? Les HN60. I don't know how you guys come up with your names. I would love to sit down and just like have a conversation with how do people come up with their names? You know, I'm always very curious. Is it like an auto-generated thing? Do all these characters mean something? I always thought it's kind of funny. Okay, he says, if someone stands is obviously just lying and has their own explanation for everything, isn't that what we call a cult? Yeah, and maybe that's what it is. But again, when you have a governing body, like our House of Representatives has like 450 people in it, something like that, and the Senate side has something like 99 or 100. I forget the exact numbers. But I don't think it's a cult with all these people. I think that they're all kind of in on the game. Like, that's kind of what I think is going on. And you know, it's like George Carlin's got that saying in his comedy. It's like, it's a big club and you ain't in it, right? Like, I think they got something going on as a governing body, a federal government, and we're not involved. Our job is just to pay for whatever it is that they're doing, you know? And again, once we cut the taxes off, I guarantee you'll find out what's happening. 100%. Everything will show itself in the most transparent fashion possible, but you can't get them to cut off the taxes. I mean, look what happened when Doge was started. I mean, every fucking politician, left and right, screaming and yelling. You know, I remember one politician said, "Oh, I don't want some 24-year-old looking at Social Security information." Like, that's exactly what I want. I want a 24-year-old going into everybody's accounts and going, "Hey, what do we got going on here?" That's what I want. I literally want that. I think most people want that. But they try and paint, you know, old people, be terrified of young people looking into your bank account. Like, some 24-year-old gives a fuck what you have in your Social Security account. Like, get out of here. Like, that, they create this fear around issues that are ridiculous. And people fall for this shit. And I don't understand why people are into this stuff. It makes no sense to me. You know, I can't wrap my head around it. But yeah, there are all kinds of cults, man. Like, people believe all kinds of crazy shit. You know, you got the people with TDS, and then you got the people that, you know, suck Trump's dick all the time and think that he's just the greatest thing since sliced bread. You got it on both sides. But there's only one guy that was shot at twice. Okay, you don't see that shit happening on the other side, and that's important to remember. Okay, I think that that's one of the reasons I voted for that guy. I was like, man, they'll never let this guy be president, and fortunately, he was able to be president. But he's doing some good things, but man, he's doing a lot of real shitty things too, you know. So, okay, Sticky 1976, Thomas Massey. Yeah, man, I would love to see that Thomas Massey guy get in there for president. I mean, I would even go for like I know Elon Musk can never run for president, and a lot of people hate that guy, but I think that guy. The cool thing about Elon Musk, and Thomas Massey is amazing. If you guys want to hear a cool conversation, go listen to Thomas Massey talk with Tucker Carlson. I've said this many times. Thomas Massey talks about building his own home. Thomas Massey sold like some kind of tech company he had, made a bunch of money, has his own property there in Kentucky, built his own house, right? And he's trying to build his own home, and he's losing his fucking mind because of all the inspections that have to do, all the permitting that he's supposed to do it. And he's like, this is my property. What the fuck am I doing asking for permission to do jack shit from you, right? And he's 100% right. And people say, well, you got to have standards and you got to have codes. You can't run a society, It's like, okay, great. So we got to follow your permitting rules. And I got to make sure I get some jack-off inspector to come in and make sure that I installed, my spacing right on my framing, right? But you could just waste my money. I could just give you tons of tax dollars. You could fuck me over left and right and continue to raise my property taxes constantly. You can continue to raise my income taxes constantly, right? Like it doesn't go both ways. It's like, is it my property or is it your property, right? Am I paying you for you to tell me what to do? It's so good. It's more towards the end of the conversation, but you want to listen to a guy, a really intelligent guy, just talk about what a shit show the whole property ownership thing is. Like, you don't really own your property, guys. Like, I got my property. I pay $16,000 a year in property taxes to live here in Illinois. It's a fucking joke. And for what, right? Why does the property taxes keep going up every year? You guys ever wondered that? And truth is whenever the city needs, there's been a lot of great YouTube videos on this kind of stuff. These cities and these counties, they're literally just raising everyone's property taxes to fund whatever it is they need to fund. And because not enough people go in and fight this kind of stuff, they just continue to pass it like we're all supposed to take off time to go fight our own government to not raise our taxes. Like, how about you just don't raise our taxes? Well, we can't afford teachers. Well, that's not my fucking problem. We'll figure it out. Like, trust me, businesses can solve these problems. This idea that we can't do it, I think is a big joke. We just keep paying taxes every fucking year they go up, guys. And no one is able to say, you know what, I'm done. I'm not paying your taxes anymore. I'm opting out. They'll come take your shit. They'll auction it off and they'll keep the proceeds from it. So it's really twisted. But listen to that conversation with him and Tucker Carlson. It's fascinating. Because again, really smart dude. Son says, yes, I love Massey. I think everyone kind of likes this Thomas Massey guy. He's just kind of no bullshit. He's a non-tariff guy, and that's, again, one thing I completely disagree with him on. I am a major tariff guy. Again, as a business owner that has to compete with the third world, the tariffs, you can make things in America, right? Like, I make a 100% made in America furniture, right? We sell 500-ish pieces a year. I also manufacture hardware in India, so call that what you want. But I make a ton of furniture, and is like 95% of my business. And you can do it, but it's really difficult. And when those tariffs came in, that only helped me, right? And anyone that had an American business would do the same thing. But the problem with American business, and again, you guys, I really want you to tell me if you agree with me or disagree with me on this, but the problem with American business today is that we've created this illusion for about 2 decades now, where if you create a product and you have it manufactured in the third world, and then you bring it back here, mark it up 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times, and then sell it back to America, and you're considered a business owner. And I fundamentally disagree with that. So if you're a company like Nike and you make 94% of all your products in China and Indonesia and Bangladesh, you're not an American company to me. I am of the opinion that you actually need to leave. And a lot of people don't like to hear that, but again, the delta that I'm talking about, guys, the $250 an hour that they pay people in China and the $32.50 an hour they would have to pay people here in America is what is causing the problem we have today. So everyone that calls themselves an American business owner and an entrepreneur, they're making everything overseas. That Scott Whalen guy, he's all over Instagram, preaching America. I'm America, America this, America, America. And he's always lifting weights, showing how buff he is and how big his dick is and all these kind of things. He makes all his was it lions, not sheep, something like that. All that shit's made overseas. All of it. Comes back here, makes all that money. Pro-America. Like, wait a minute. Like, if you're so pro-American, how come you can't make your fucking product here? I don't understand this. I don't believe that you can call yourself an American business owner if the majority of your product is made in the third world. I don't see it that way. I think you're a fraud. And we've told people that if you guys know what white labeling is, right? So what a lot of American business owners do is they find a product that is already made in Vietnam, like say cups or t-shirts or shoes or whatever, And they come up with a logo, right? And then a story about, oh, I've been making tennis shoes my whole life. I'm so proud of making tennis shoes. I love running. I love this. My mom died and I told her I was going to make a tennis shoe. They come up with this fucking story. And then they go buy a shoe that's already made in another country, put their logo on it, bring it back here. They're like, this is the most amazing shoe. The heritage of this shoe. I've been in business since 1978. They come with this fucking story, and that the shoe isn't made here. It's not made here. You know, the people that stitch that shoe together, they're no longer here. And everyone says, well, you can't do that here. No one does that here. And guess what? New Balance made it work. They make shoes here in America, right? Columbia Sportswear, again, used to make all their stuff here. They started making it overseas because everyone started making their stuff overseas. So when your industry starts making everything overseas, the only thing that you can do to compete is to also make it overseas. Bring the delta, the $32 an hour and the $250 an hour, take that delta, pour it into marketing. Pour it into ads on Google. Pour it into ads on Facebook. Get your name out there. Talk about your product. Show everyone how amazing your product is, right? And you have the money to do that because you're not paying American workers to do it. You're not paying American workers to make your product. So the only way you compete is to be a fucking piece of shit like all these other brands. And that's what I don't like. And until Trump brings in a 300 or 400% tariff and crushes all of these businesses that are making everything in the third world, you're not going to be able to make $40 an hour, $50 an hour. You're not going to be able to start a business in America because your competition is the third world. You're competing with hedge funds, private equity, businesses that have been in business for 30, 40, 50 years. Businesses that cannot go out of business because if their business model fails, guess what? The government will just bail them out and they'll use your tax dollars to do it. So I have a major problem with that. It's one of the pillars of what I talk about as a business owner in America today. Okay, I'll keep going. Let's see, Baton Rouge Lackers. Trump demeaning Massey is really an L for him. Yeah, it doesn't look good, right? It's, and especially my guess is that Massey probably talked well about this guy, helped campaign for him, told people to vote for this guy. Same thing with that Marjorie Taylor Greene. Like, I don't care what anybody says about that woman, but she was really, she had passion, right? She had conviction, vigor, whatever you want to call it. She had scruples, you know, and same thing. Like, again, she disagrees with Trump and he starts talking shit about her, man. That's not a friend, man. That's someone you don't want to associate with. And again, as someone that voted for Trump, I don't like that. It's not a good look. It means that everything is about you and it's not about the people that got you to where you are. You know, it's like a business owner starting a business, right? Using American labor, you know, works 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years to build up that business. And then once he starts making a good chunk of money, he really gets good market share. You know, the money is coming in. People know your product. You send all the work overseas and fire everyone. That's what he's doing. And I don't like that. It's a bad look and it's un-American. We don't do that shit here. And yeah, so that's what I'll say about that. Okay, guys, I'm going to give you guys probably about 5 or 10 more minutes. So I'm probably going to get out of here. Let's see here. Jonathan Spencer, 83. Jonathan, good to see you, man. The circus is old and my bread is moldy. Okay, great comment, dude. Hit the like button. Appreciate you being here. Batten says he used to be funny and it's not even. Yeah, and that's a great point. Trump used to be hilarious, man. Like his first term when he'd go into those news conferences and just crush the media, like I felt like, oh my God, I'm seen, I'm represented, you know, because I would just look at what the media would say to this guy and how they would treat him, and I was like, man, y'all are some assholes, you know, and he just throw it right back in their face. I was like, this is fucking awesome. This is what I've been missing, man. And it was like, I couldn't turn away. It was like watching Landman, new season of Landman to come on. I'm just like, as soon as it comes out, I'm right there. You know, Trump's on there talking to the news media. It's like, man, and he would do it every day. You know, he'd go out there and just fight with these people. It's like, yeah, that's my guy. Get him. You know, it was amazing. You know, and then yeah, COVID hit, and then suddenly it's like, well, you got to shut down the economy. And Trump's like, fuck that. I ain't shutting down shit, man. We're fucking America. We're going to work through this thing, you know, full steam ahead. And then eventually he's like, oh, might have to shut things down. You know, Fauci says it's pretty dangerous. And, you know, we don't want people to get sick. Mom and dad and the teachers, you know, they don't want to be the example. They want to, you know, sit at home like bitches and everyone's just going to have to stay home, I guess. He just got wear down. And when that happened, I just knew it. I'm like, oh no, we're in deep shit. And there we go. Then we got academia and all the experts coming in telling us what to do. And here we are today. $37 trillion in debt, inflation all-time highs, no one can afford homes, and it literally is from shutting the economy down. And people can go back as far as they want. It has nothing to do with any of that. The economy was great, interest rates were low, everything was cooking in 2019. Going into COVID, man, business was good, everything was great. Once that happened, it fucked everything up like big time. Big time. And we still aren't right. We still haven't got it figured out, and we're still struggling, you know? And I don't know how to fix it, man. Y'all got any solutions? Whatever you think happened, that's what I think happened, personally. But yeah, Pat, that's a great point. You know, Trump what he does today, it's like when Trump used to talk shit, he was talking shit to our people, which was awesome. Like now he just talks shit to everybody, and it kind of gets old. It's like, wait a minute, like I don't want you talking shit to Venezuela and talking shit to Europe, and I don't care about those people, you know? Like you used to talk tough on China, but now when it came time to implement your tariffs and shut that fucking place down, you're like, oh, I don't know. There's some good people over there. You know, a lot of businesses make stuff over there. We can't just throw tariffs on these people. Oh, we gotta take our time, you know, let's see what's gonna happen, you know, negotiate. Every time it comes around to drop the hammer on these fucking people, it's like, oh, well, you know, she sucked me off a couple times, you know, and oh man, it was really good this time, you know, so we're going to give him another year and we'll see what happens next time he comes around and tries to blow me. You know, he's such a, what do they call it, taco trade, you know? He's just such a crybaby. And it just, at some point, someone's going to call his bluff, and he's going to have to put up or shut up, you know? And unfortunately, I think that what's going to happen is he's going to be like, okay, we're going to go, and then America's going to go, and he's going to move out of the way, and we're all going to get hit in the face. You know, I think that's what's going to happen, and it's bad news, guys, you know? So, yeah, I wish he would get back to being old Trump. This new Trump sucks, you know? And these people, the thing that's different this time than last one, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but this time he's got a lot of tech people around him, you know? And I don't know, I know there's a lot of people that are into, you know, the tech bros and all that kind of stuff. But man, I think these people are bad. I think they're real bad. I think this idea of, and maybe I'm just old manning here, but I think this whole idea of like this electric car movement, this idea that everyone's just going to ride in a Waymo, and that people are just going to be able to work while they drive. Like, I think this is horrible. I think it's a horrible idea for humanity. Again, this idea that you can be on the internet all day, every day, I don't think that's good either. These people putting up all these data centers everywhere, and people just, we're basically going to live in a massive surveillance state with these guys. You know, you got Palantir, you know, basically coming into the government. You got Anduril coming into the government. And I don't think it's good. I think that's what's got this guy fucked up. This guy, David Sachs, I used to kind of like this guy, David Sachs, but I think that he's part of the introduction of what's called the technocracy into our government. And this guy is an infiltrator, and he's actually best buds with this guy named Peter Thiel, who pushed to get J.D. Vance as the vice president. If you guys have ever seen the movie The Manchurian Candidate, J.D. Vance is exactly the same person in The Manchurian Candidate. The exact same person. Liev Schreiber, whatever the actor's name is in that movie, it's the exact same thing. It's, look at me, I'm a military man. He goes in there, and the guy doesn't think for himself. He's a puppet, right, for his mom, basically, which is she's like a representation of Hillary Clinton, you know. But point is that guy is a Manchurian candidate, you know, for whatever this technocracy thing is that's coming in. I don't think it's good. I think it's a big problem. Okay, dude, where's my curve? That's interesting. How do you come up with that name, dude? I'm kind of curious. That's an interesting one. You sound fruity. Yeah, I probably do. Whatever. I sound how I sound. What am I gonna do? See, actually, that assassination attempt very well might have been a psyop. Yeah, man. And again, I try not to believe in all the conspiracies that much. I didn't necessarily believe in the Epstein thing so much until they started fighting it so much. And the straw that broke the camel's back for me was, again, Congress passed a bill signed by the president. All those files were supposed to be released December 19th. 1% has been released. And they always fall back to the same thing. And I find it hilarious that Congress isn't up these guys' ass right now saying, you fucking people, do this shit like we told you, or we're going to put you all in jail. And they would have every right to, because they have the legislation there. I mean, the Pam Bondi, she's not following any of the rules. They're going to hide behind this sources and methods. This is what they always do. You know, well, we got to protect the names. We got to redact the names. Like, fuck me, with AI, you could redact that shit like that. I could tell Grok right now to redact anything I want. I could tell Grok to write up anything that I want. These people could do this stuff. They're not doing it on purpose, you know. And again, look what's going on in Minnesota, Venezuela. Like they're doing anything they can to keep us from focusing on this. They're giving us new shit to fight about. And the Minneapolis thing and the ICE thing is like priority number one. Look at Twitter right now. If you guys go on Twitter right now, that's all that's in my feed. And I could give a shit. I don't care. Great. I fought with a person in Minneapolis and somebody died. Like, great. People die every day. Like where I live here in Illinois, Chicago, what is it, like 10, 20 people die every weekend? I don't fucking hear people losing their shit over that. Black people kill black people all the time. No one gives a fuck. But suddenly we care that ICE killed a person that pulled a gun on them. Like, fuck. Good for them. I'm fucking glad they shot that guy. Moving on. Not a nice thing to say, but I don't give a fuck. We got bigger problems to worry about. You know, there's things that affect all of us, and that shit doesn't affect us. But that's what everyone's focusing on. Now they're talking, oh, we're going to have riots tonight, you know, civil war, all these kind of things. Like, wait a minute. Like, I'm tired of being fucked in the ass for taxes every day. I'm tired of giving 50% of my fucking money to the federal government, the state government, the county government, the city government. I'm tired of being taxed on everything that I buy, property taxes on everything that I buy. I'm tired of that shit. I'm tired of my military getting so big that we got to do something with this military. So we're going to send it over into other countries. We're going to snatch people. We're going to go bomb other countries because we're apparently these people pose threats to us. Like but Minneapolis, like I don't know what you guys think about it. I can't do it. Okay, hold Jonathan Ross accountable for the murder of Renee Good. Okay, and this is another thing. Like you're making my point. Like I don't give a fuck about that woman. You know, I got people in my county that actually want us to pass. They want to recognize that woman every whatever day every year, like she's some fucking social justice warrior or some kind of hero. Like this is a nobody person. And again, I feel bad for the people that know this woman, that care about this woman, but I don't. I'm sorry. I don't give a shit. Like, it's horrible what happened to her, and I don't care about her situation. Everyone says, oh, she's a lesbian, crazy person. Like, again, I don't care. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. I care about real problems. I care about stuff that bothers all of us, that affects everybody, whether you know it or not. That's the stuff that I care about. You want your life to get better? Stop letting the federal government print your life away and take your tax dollars. Every day that you go to work, you got to work till May, basically, to make your own money. Like, how do you feel about that? Like, does it feel good to work till May before you actually get any of your own money? And what? So you can supposedly fuck the rich people? Like, oh, go get them. Go tax the rich. You know, I don't make enough money. Like, you don't make enough money because you don't get to keep any money. That's why you don't make enough money. And when you say, well, I don't make enough money, you say, well, go get a fucking job. You're like, well, I can't get enough job that pays enough money. It's because you let all the corporations send all the work to the third world. You let your government bring in the third world in your country. Guess what? They took all your fucking jobs. And I'm here to tell you, it doesn't have to be this way. But you're worried about Renee Good, whatever the fuck her name is. You're worried about the guy that just got shot in Minneapolis. You're worried about these people, George Floyd, this kind of stuff. Like, it's so distracting, guys, so that you can continue to get fucked in the ass every day for tax dollars. It's all about tax dollars, guys. That's all that matters. Cut off the tax dollars, you could fix all these problems. Then guess what? You'll have more money in your pocket, right? You can start a business. If you want to go, try and get legislation for Renee Good or anybody else, George Floyd, you want to go put together a monument for some piece of shit criminal? Great, go for it. But do it with your money. Stop doing it with my money. And stop telling your politicians that this is the shit that we should care about, because it isn't. Don't care about this stuff. Care about the big problems, not the little problems. Tired of the little problems. So get your head out of your ass, guys. Like, stop focusing on that shit. Sand some furniture in the back of a car. I've never sanded furniture in the back of the car, but I have painted furniture in the back of a car, actually the back of a van. But yeah, I know. I talk about furniture-related stuff. I talk about painting stuff. I talk about small business. I talk about a lot of different things on my streams, because the stream is kind of for everybody. It's for anybody that wants to hear about anything. If you like the political stuff, hang out and talk about the political stuff. If you like the furniture stuff, talk about the furniture stuff. All of my videos, for the most part, are all about business and all about woodworking or painting. Like any of the videos or shorts or stuff like that. This is the only place that I talk politics with people, because we all got to vent. Like, we all got to talk about things. I can't just be like that bourbon mouth guy where all I do is, paint this perfect dorky picture of who I am, and look at me drive my Ford, and here's my Festool sander, and buy my knives, and buy my this, and buy my that, and make sure you pay attention to my sponsors. Like, no, we talk about real shit because we're real people. I'm not a puppet for you to, it's going to dance to whatever you want me to dance to. It doesn't work like that when I'm on my live streams. Okay, let's see. Nathan Hazelhurst 484. Rockefellers, Rothschilds, etc. Oh yeah. So I don't know if you actually know the history behind a lot of that stuff, and I'm not great with it, but from what I understand, the Rothschilds are the ones that actually started this whole debt idea, right? Where countries could basically lend to each other, you could make bonds, and you could sell bonds to different countries. They started this whole countries going into debt for interest, and it's created a situation where all of the countries are in debt to each other, and so the debt bubble can never burst. That was the idea, right? So the people that were lending the money in the beginning, the Rockefellers and specifically the Rothschilds, and also you forgot about Morgan. J.P. Morgan was in on this thing as well. They created this debt cycle where, again, everybody is in debt to everybody else, and the cycle can never be broken. The minute you cut off the tax payments and the debt payments, you have massive fucking problems. And the Rothschilds engineered that entire system. And it was codified here in America in 1913. Somebody may have to correct me on this. 1913, when we introduced the Fed, right? So that became the system that could then print money, create bonds, sell debt, do all these kind of things. And it created this, it started the hyper financialization of the world, which has led us to where we are today, where everybody's in debt. I think Sun said that the world economy is $350 trillion in debt, and it's in debt for a purpose, right? There's a reason we're all in debt together. It's so that no country can fall apart, right? And we have this thing called the International Monetary Fund, which is, again, a collection of countries, and anytime a country gets in trouble, we bail them out with debt, right? So that it becomes more of a bubble, right? Or it's not even really a bubble. It's just every country relies on everyone else to be in debt, you know? So yeah, read up on that. That's a good point. Let's see here. Sun says JD is just a Palantir as a person. Yeah, like I said, watch the movie The Manchurian Candidate, Sun. It's wild, man. Denzel Washington is actually really good, but it's like I'm watching that movie in real time with JD Vance. Like, this guy is he's not even a real person to me. Like, he just seems like a caricature of what the perfect candidate would be. You know, it's like, oh, look at me, I've got an Indian wife, and I've got these perfect kids, and I served in the military, and I say all the right things, you know, to the people that I want to vote for me. And it's just like, he just doesn't seem like a human to me, like he's the first android or something. You know, he's like Weyland Yutani is here, and they're making all the robots, or Skynet's here, one of these places, one of these companies that we had when we, you know, the aliens, the Terminator universe, like it's all colliding today. And we got JD Vance, he's Ash, you know, or he's Bishop. That's what he is, Bishop. I like Bishop. That's what I like. But yeah, he just doesn't seem real to me. So, okay. Red Wizard 9430. That's dumbass take, bro. Okay, well, tell me what's the right take, man. Like, better. That's why we do this kind of stuff. You know, let me know. You can't just say something's dumb. Like we have to have solutions, right? I tell people, like, don't bring me your fucking problems. Bring me a solution. Tell me what the problem is, but then give me a solution. Let's hear it. I'll bat it back and forth with you. And again, I'm very open to change my mind on things. Like I said, I'm a Trump supporter, but I'm also really pissed at him, and I don't like what he's doing, and I don't necessarily think that he would have been better than freaking Kamala Harris at this point. He's not doing the things that he said he was going to do, and so the country is in a really rough state right now. You know, I think from a fiscal standpoint, we're moving in the right direction, but from a societal standpoint, I think we've got a lot of people are really pissed right now, and I don't want to be like that. You know, so that's all I'll say about that. They don't care about us. They are in a club, and we're not in it. That's right, man. George Carlin said that, right? You know, so Nathan, that's 100% true, man. Like, see, you used to be a smart dude. Oh, the first Avengers back, man. That's cool, man. I remember you. Let's hear what you got to say. Having a quasi-paramilitary force under the command of the executive branch, running around visiting the Constitution, frightened. And okay, yeah, you're making my point, man. Like, I've been saying the same thing. You know, it's like you can't go into another country unless Congress blesses it, right? We have these checks and balances for a reason, and Trump is challenging all of these checks and balances, and the courts are siding with him, I think, for the most part. And if the court sides with him, like, again, I can't fight that. I might not like it, but if the court says he can do that kind of stuff, then fine, he can do that stuff. Congress then has to make new legislation that reigns in the judicial branch, right? And this is how it works. Not that Trump would sign into law, but again, Congress can vote something and make it veto-proof, right? So there are mechanisms to fix a lot of these issues, but Congress doesn't want to do it. Like, they don't, you know? So at this point, we literally just saw our military go into a sovereign country, snatch its leader out, and then act like nothing happened. You know, and now we're just on to the next thing. You know, it's like now we're talking about sending our military over to Iran. Like, what the fuck are we worried about Iran for? What does Iran have to do with America? Like, if Iran wants to come over here and pull a 9/11 on us, great. I would rather they come over here and try that shit than we just go over there into another country and start bombing them. People might not agree with me on that one, but if you got the balls to roll up on us and do that, guess what? We're going to go wipe you off the map. And that's what our military is supposed to do. We're supposed to go scorch earth, salt that fucking country, kill everyone. Everyone. Nobody's innocent. And then we come back home and we say, great, who's next? And that's how I look at those kind of things. Like, you have the baddest fucking military the world has ever known for a reason, and it's not to go invade. It's to say, hey, you want to come fuck with us? By all means, go right ahead. Let's see how this works out, right? Louis Simmons talked about it, the great weightlifter. You know, there's a pecking order, right? You know, if you want to go try and move up in your place, go for it. But, you know, you might get bitch slapped. You know, and that's the thing. You want to come try some shit in America? Go for it. We got great oceans here. Like, there's not a lot of people can mess with us. You know, and we also just happen to have the greatest military that's ever existed. We spend more money on our military today than like the next 30 countries combined. You know, so it's yeah, we got to be careful with this. You know, Trump's just doing some wild stuff. You know, but First Avenger, I'm glad you're back, man. I'm glad you're back. It's good. I like to see people come back and we're going to talk about politics, you know, and I hope I can convince people of my ideas on small business and how the world should really work. And maybe you'll want to start a small business. Maybe you'll want to do some woodworking, some painting, all these kind of things. I talk about all kinds of things, you know, and again, I tell everyone, never went to high school. Wasn't a thing. Just worked really hard and figured it out. And that should be, hopefully that's candy to people. Like, you can do it too. It can be done. All right, Funk Congress. Oh boy, here we go. Swear words. You make an argument stronger. They also make you appear smarter and less. Yeah, good job. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it's not. So a lot of people, like my parents, hate swear words. Like, I try not to curse around my family. There's certain generations of people that it's not a thing for them. They're much more proper. But my thing is, you got to read your room, right? And this is my room. Right? So if people don't like the way that I talk, I'm going to talk freely in this room. That's why I talk about whatever I want. One of the number one rules of owning a business is that you don't talk about politics, right? You don't, because you run the risk of alienating people that could potentially buy your stuff. And that's why I only do that kind of stuff on these live streams, because, you know, people got to be able to talk. You got to be able to vent, and you got to be able to talk the way that you want. Like, I've been around men my entire life. I've worked in manufacturing my entire life. You know, we talk about the dirtiest, nastiest shit, and I think it's great. I think that one of the things that fucked this country was when we sent everyone to college starting in the 2000s, we nerfed everything. We made everything safe. And then when COVID came around and the government said, everyone's got to be safe and here's how you do it, people were just all too willing to comply because there weren't enough people that were going to go fuck yourself. You know, like, you're not going to tell me what safe is. Like, I work in a wood shop. I got spinning blades and bits and welding arcs and paint fumes, and I got all kinds of crazy shit. Heavy things crushing me, big 75-pound pieces of plywood. I got shit all over the place. CNC routers running around. You think I give a fuck about a cold? Oh, it could hurt somebody else. Like, fuck you. I'll worry about me. You worry about you. We need more of that in America. Not because we want people to get hurt. We want people to die. None of that stuff. But it means that you're aware of your surroundings. You're able to take care of yourself. You don't look for somebody else to take care of you, because what you do is dangerous all day long. And you're really aware of what is really dangerous, not what an expert tells you is dangerous. So, okay. Sun, Fed is 1913. Okay, cool. I was right. Yeah. Like I said, I watched a video on the Rothschilds and Morgan and how they kind of started this massive global debt system that kind of keeps everybody constantly printing money, right? Everyone's constantly printing money and lending it to other people. They're constantly making bonds and selling those to people to get money to finance all the bullshit that they want to finance. And it just, everyone is in it, therefore no one can leave it. And that's what the Rothschilds, I believe they started that whole system. First Avenger, 96 American tariffs have been paid by U.S. customers, while about 4% tariffs burden paid. Okay, you told this to me last time we were on here, and I wrecked what you just said there, right? Because I'm actually an importer who has to pay tariffs. I actually manufacture things in the third world, and I told you how tariffs really work. And I hear this from people where they're like, oh, the American consumer pays it all. And I just, like, I don't know how many times I have to tell you people that's not how it works. That's not how it works. There's no way that I am going to eat everything because I'm the first person that pays that tariff. It's not my customer, it's me. I'm not going to eat that thing all by myself. And guess what? The person that manufactures in the third world, they're not going to lose my business, right? So we all eat a little bit. The person that's bringing that stuff over here into America, they're not going to lose the business either. Everybody has to eat. And so when people say this kind of stuff, 4% is paid by the exporter, like I can tell you guys as an importer, a legit importer, that's complete horseshit. It's complete horseshit, right? Agree with Trump, don't agree with Trump. What Trump said was 100% right. The greatest market the world has ever known is America, right? Everybody wants to be here, okay? Third world is more than happy to work with American importers when they have to sell into America. Because here's the thing, guys. You can sell a product in America and get price A. You can sell a product into Europe and get price B. You can sell a product into China, Russia, Africa, Australia, all these places, Canada, and you're going to get completely different prices at home. The highest price and the best price and the most product is only one place in the world, and that is America. Okay? And this is the thing, that Trump is 100% right. It's not what you sell, it's where you sell it. Here's my example. Everyone thinks I've seen this. Take a bottle of water. You buy a bottle of water. You can get water for free down in the river, right? You can go to Walmart, buy a bottle of water for 59 cents. You can go to the convenience store, buy a bottle of water for $2.59. You can go to a basketball game, buy a bottle of water for $5.59. You can go to the airport, buy a bottle of water for $7.95, okay? You could be the company Chanel, put your name on a bottle of water and sell it for $29.95, okay? The market is everything. It's everything. And the third world wants to be here more than they want us to stick it to the American consumer, okay? Trust me, these people are negotiating left and right to get their products into this country because they got to eat too. And so when your experts, your economists say this stuff, they're fucking lying. Economists don't know jack shit about how the economy works, right? And just look at what the Fed's doing. The Fed has fucked this country left and right for the last 30 years. Horrible, horrible what's going on. And these are all economists. These are the expert class, right? How's your country doing? Right? When they printed off all that money, the experts said, well, we got to tell everyone to go home. We're going to print $11 trillion. We're going to turn off all the rent. We're just going to give people tons of checks because the experts said that's what to do. How do you guys like that now that you get fucked in the ass with the highest inflation that we've ever seen in our lives? How do you like that? Do you want to go read some more articles from this? What is this? The Kiel Economist Institute? Institute means bullshit. That's what it means. Bullshit. Okay? I 100% disagree with everything you're saying there, with every fiber of my being. Every fiber of my being. I'm so tired of experts. You want to listen to an expert? Go talk to a convenience store owner. You want to know how the economy is doing? Go talk to a guy that owns a gas station. Okay? That's how the economy is doing. You talk to some fucking expert that lives in a bubble. Like, the fucking Fed is still asking for prices, by letter, okay? I get these stupid things in the mail all the time. Well, we want to know what your revenue is. What did you sell? How many of this product? Fuck you. Oh, we're going to fine you $500 if you don't give us information. Like, suck my dick. You can't have it. So the Fed is getting incomplete data. They're asking the wrong questions about how the economy is doing. And here's another thing. Here's a great way. So guy goes over to, there's two guys walking in the woods, right? They see a piece of shit, right? One economist picks up that piece of shit and says, you know what? I'll sell you this piece of shit for $100. The other guy says, great, here's $100. The other guy picks up the piece of shit and says, you know what? I'm going to sell you this piece of shit back to you for another $100. Sells it to the other guy for another $100. Guess what? That's GDP of $200 fucking dollars, okay? That's how the economy works. When these guys are talking about GDP, it's fucking bullshit, guys. Everything's made overseas. Right? And it's basically got dollars running around, right, in a big circle, and they call this GDP. When these dollars move around a bunch, GDP go up. They're like, oh, God, that's amazing. You didn't actually have any growth, okay? Economists are liars, right? And Son's probably going to back me up on a lot of this stuff. He follows a lot of economic data, but the economists are worse now than ever, and I've said enough. Okay, Son says, the women's the issue first Avenger. If the tariff brings jobs and industries to the U.S., we can thrive and employ. Yes, and that's 100% right? So I said, I don't know how I'm a broken record on this thing, right? I tell people, if you want to make American wages, you need to make American products. And the illusion is that they told you guys starting in the early 90s and into the 2000s when they let China in the World Trade Organization, they said, you know what? You guys don't have to do this hard work anymore, right? The thing that made America the most massive economic, military might, manufacturing might, the thing that made us the greatest country that has ever existed was literally manufacturing. It was making shit here in America by Americans for Americans and the rest of the world, right? We don't do that now. So in 2001, we let China in the World Trade Organization. They said, you know what? We're going to send all these hard jobs, the ones that, it's dangerous. You got to, push wood through a table saw. You got to hold a welding arc. You got to work in a hot attic to install insulation and install ducting. Like, we're going to get rid of those jobs. We're going to send all that work overseas. You don't want to work in a factory. That's dirty. That's for losers, right? Send all that work overseas, and then you're going to get to go to college, right? We're going to say to college, guess what? You're going to have a nice office job. You're going to be just like the CEO. You're going to have, climate-controlled air. You're going to be able to drink coffee. You're going to have a break room with running water. You're going to be able to go off to, maybe you want to go to Applebee's for lunch, or maybe you want to go have a beer at lunch. It's going to be amazing. All this fluorescent lighting. Maybe you can get that corner suite. It's going to be amazing, but you got to get that college education first. While you get that college education, we're going to funnel all your jobs out to the third world. And then by the time you come back, guess what? You're a data analyst, right? You're a psychologist. How's that working out for all of you? Guess what? You don't make any fucking money. And also, the hilarious thing about it is that you paid to learn a skill for which there is no demand. And as the colleges kept passing out those degrees, guess what? You were actually, as a taxpayer, paying for your own fucking competition when they kept giving out all the degrees. And now you're like, well, I can't make any money. What am I supposed to do? You're like, well, you could go work in a factory. Oh, wait, they're all overseas where they all make $2.50 an hour, and you need $32.50 an hour just to survive today. There's no fucking job for you. You gave all the jobs away, guys. Every fucking one of them. And they lied to you by telling you that when you get that college degree, your life's going to be so much better. Your life's going to be so much better than that dumb guy running parts through a table saw. Tell you guys, tariff everything, 400%. The only thing that doesn't get a tariff are materials. That's it. You want to send us some lumber? We'll take your lumber. You want to send us aluminum? Take your aluminum. You want to send us some steel? Rare earths, as they talk about? Great, we'll take all that shit. And we're going to make it all here. And guess what? We're going to sell it to Americans, and we're going to sell it to the rest of the American world. And yes, it will be expensive. But here's the thing. You don't need a t-shirt that costs $7.50. Most people buy 36 garments a year. You guys know this stat, right? When Temu was a big thing, most people were buying 36 pieces of attire a year, right? You don't need all that shit. Back when I grew up, you got new clothes when it was time for the new school year, and that was basically it. You might get 8, 9, 10 garments at most. But guess what? They lasted forever because it cost so much money to make them, and it cost so much money to pay the people that made them. So you couldn't make shit. People wouldn't buy it. So if you want to make real money, got to make it here in America, got to sell it to America. It's the greatest market the world has ever known. And guess what? Europe's going to buy it too, because the American brand used to have the cachet. Everybody wanted American shit. But then all the corporations, they're like, fuck that. I can make way more money if I outsource all that work and go give the people that are going to need something. We'll just put them in college for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years. We'll see how long we can run this bitch out. And then when they come out of college, well, we'll give them a tech job. We'll give them a data analyst job. And again, it'll be replaced in 4 or 5 years by AI anyway. The only thing that there is to do is work with your hands. Whether that's building houses. Guess what? We need some fucking houses. Where's all the house builders, right? Where's all the frame carpenters? Where's all the concrete people? Where's all the excavators? Where's all the huge demand for truck drivers to bring all that shit in from Canada, bring all that shit in from whatever, Newfoundland, wherever the hell all that shit comes from, bring all this shit in here from Mexico. Where's the massive demand for all these jobs? They're still trying to get you guys to go to college. They're still trying to get you to be an analyst, right? To be an industrial engineer. An industrial hygienist. That's what I love. I love industrial hygienists. These are all bullshit jobs, guys. They're still trying to get you to do this shit. The real money is in working with your hands. It's in making real shit. That's why you gotta be careful with these data centers, guys. These fucking tech guys, they're trying to put data centers in everywhere, right? Here's the thing. Those data centers are gonna be awesome for about 6 months when they build it, right? They're gonna have like 5 or 6 people running it. All those construction jobs are gone. They're gone. Meanwhile, The data centers, they get the tax breaks on the land. They get the tax breaks on all the material that it took to build it. They get the tax breaks on all the labor that it took to build that data center. And then the county and the state where that data center goes in there is going to get minimal revenue, and it's never going to offset the amount of tax breaks that they got or the free land that they got, right? How do I know this? Because I applied to have buildings done here in Illinois, right? We have a lot of tax breaks and tax credits, and if you're a employer that wants to bring in, it's over, I think, 20 people, they let you write off everything for like 10 years. So that's what you're doing, guys. You have to get the work back here in America. It's the only way you guys are going to make money. You want to keep up with inflation? It's the only way you're going to be able to do it. You know, I hate to say it. I know people might not agree with me, but I'll stop. Let's continue. All right. So Sun says, let's see. That's old school thought. Keep it coming. We need to bring back pride in our work. Keep it up. That's Jonathan Spencer. Yeah, I'm 100% that way. And again, I'm an American business. I hire American people. We have been doing this for 10 years. It can be done. It's very difficult. And when Trump put all those tariffs in on April 1st, I was loving it. It was great. My people were loving it. There was nothing. It didn't affect us one bit. But you know what happened to Restoration Hardware stock? Got cut in half in one day. That's probably the most well-known luxury furniture company in America. Makes none of their furniture in America. It's all made in Vietnam and China. They don't even own any fucking factories. It's all made in factories that are owned by China. Make none of it here. You know, so when they call these companies American, they talk about how great they are and, oh, this is an American brand. What a great story. Fuck no, it's not. They don't make jack shit here. Nothing. Nothing. When you buy something from Restoration Hardware, you're not paying for your neighbor. You're not buying an expensive piece of furniture that your neighbor is working to build and making his life better. You're paying Chang. And again, the guy that owns Restoration Hardware is taking that delta. The $250 he's paying a guy in Vietnam, and the $32.50 he should be paying an American worker here, and he's putting that in his pocket. He's using it for marketing. He's buying one of 3 private jets. He's buying a yacht. He's buying really expensive galleries all over the world to put his furniture that's made in Vietnam and promoting it as a high-end luxury experience, luxury product. Your dick's gonna be so big if you own Restoration Hardware. Your wife's gonna want you. All the women are gonna want you. You know, your life's gonna feel so much better if you have Restoration Hardware coffee table in your home. They're stealing from the country that they're selling their shit from Vietnam into. And most people don't even know it. And this is true for Nike. Nike's the same way. You know, just do it. Right, Michael Jordan, Air Jordan. You know, who's the other guy? Who's the popular one? I forget all these basketball players' names, but same. They're all dickheads as far as I'm concerned. But same deal. Like all the shit's made overseas. They bring it here. They market it as this amazing thing, this amazing story. And again, I'm from Oregon, so I can talk shit on Nike. But yeah, it's all a big scam, guys. They use that money to mass advertise, to pay athletes to push their products. And again, they hire no American workers to make their product. You know, and then you get people that say, well, we don't do that here in America anymore. It's like they never say, well, how come we never do that anymore? Did we ever do that here? No one ever says that. Well, yeah, we used to do that here. We don't hear it. Well, we sent all that work overseas. Well, why did we send it overseas? Well, we didn't want to do that work anymore. Like, who said we didn't? I didn't say I didn't want to do that work anymore. They gave you no choice. It's like either you can go to college or you can be a fucking loser. Turns out you went to college, and guess what? You got to college, you're a fucking loser. Now you're going to have to go back to doing what we did prior to 1994 NAFTA, and you're going to have to go learn to make something. And that's what I talk about, guys. Like it's not a dig on anyone that went to college. Like whatever, man. Like you did what you were told. I feel bad for a lot of those people. I really do. It's ironic though that the people that went to college, they got fucked over by the government and corporations. They come out of college and then instead of saying, hey, you know what, government, you fucked me. Corporations, you fucked me because now I don't have a job that can pay enough money to pay my shit back. They say, you know what, taxpayer, you need to pay my shit off. Never once do they say, you know what, colleges, you fucked me. You need to pay for my education. You gave me a bad product. Never happens. Never happens. They blame everybody but the colleges. And that's where it all starts. That's where your experts are. So First Avenger, when you point out that economic institute, those are the people that I'm talking about. And the thing about economists and anybody that is in academia, it's all a massive circle jerk. Like who do you think gives you a degree, right? It's somebody that got a degree, right? When you get a research grant, who is it you think that writes that research or approves that research grant? It's someone that was getting research grants before you. It's a massive circle jerk, and somebody's in the federal government that makes it all happen. It's extracting money from everybody that's a taxpayer. Everybody. We're all paying for this shit. Every one of us. That's why I say cut it all off. No more federal tax dollars. Zero. You want to be a state? Guess what? States are going to have a shit ton of money. The states can contribute to the federal government. Let them do it. Let the states take care of their own roads. Let the states take care of their own health care. Take care of their own police action. FBI is crooked. CIA is crooked. The military can't pass a fucking audit. What good is the military if they can't pass an audit? In fact, the military just went into another country and snatched some guy out of a sovereign country. Like, what are we doing? Where is this country going? Like, we're all just gonna pay taxes in perpetuity. Property tax is gonna get so high that the government's gonna snatch all of our homes. And what? We're all just gonna be renters? Fucking Blackstone and all the private equity companies, they're gonna own all the housing. We're just gonna rent it to them. Well, then we're back to the Rothschilds, where everyone is in a humongous bubble of debt. Like, no one can get out of this debt bubble because a few people own everything. So anyway. Okay, let's go through these last couple of comments, guys, and we'll call it a day. I've been on here for a while. I appreciate everyone hanging out today, man. I hope everyone's doing good. Everyone's got better weather than we do. We got a foot of snow on the ground, and it's 0 degrees out. It's going to be this way for the next week, basically. Really cold weather. Really cold weather. So, okay, Son says, what video about the Rothschilds? So, Son, I don't know what the video's name is. If you got on YouTube and you Googled or got on YouTube and you did a query for do a query for Rothschild, Morgan, Rockefeller, IMF, Fed. Something in that range of information, and that video will pop up. And I want to say it was like 30 or 45 minutes long, and it is fucking awesome. Like, I've watched it a couple of times, and I could probably go back through my history and probably find it. But do a search like that, and you'll see it, and it's just awesome. It just literally talks about, and they literally go back to, like, I want to say they go back to like the 1400s, which is a little bit far. Maybe, no, I think over like 1700s. But they go back and it actually starts from there, and they talk about some like Duke or something like that to start all this stuff. I don't remember everything about it, but it's wild, and everything lines up perfectly. Man, you make it through that video, and it just explains exactly how every country in the world is in debt to every country in the world. And it's designed that way to keep everybody paying debt, right? And if you get a country that has no debt, well, come to find out that they will get invaded, right? They will have something happen to them. Their country will go bankrupt. They will need a bailout, and then they will have to go to the IMF, and the IMF will issue debt, and then they basically become assimilated into this massive debt bubble. So again, I can't explain it very well. I'm too dumb, but it's a really good video. Okay, First Avenger. So if you're saying you are not eating the cost, when are you passing the cost on the customer? Dude, I explained this in my last video, okay? I'm gonna go through it real quick, okay? Here's how it works. So, and some of the cost does get passed on the consumer, okay? Here's how it works. So if I buy 100 grand of shit from India, right? So I'm bringing in 100 grand of shit. I tell you guys, if I pay $2 for a piece of hardware from the country of India, right? I'm the importer. I pay $2 for that part. I sell it here for $70, right? So immediately think about that markup, okay? This is what every company in America is doing, and not to that degree. Some countries, they bring stuff in for $2, they sell it for $10, okay? But the markup is massive, okay? This is why you need Americans making American shit, okay? Hear me out. So I bring in that thing, cost me $2, but I'm spending $100,000 worth of shit over the course of a year, okay? So tariff comes in, right? Tariff comes in, it's 25%, right? That's why I say tariffs are a joke right now. 25% of my $2, because it's not the end price that gets tariff. It's the price that I get from that country. So I'm paying $2, okay? 25% of $2 is what? 50 cents? So now my cost basis is $2.50. It still costs $70. I do not need to raise my price at all, but let's just say I'm going to, okay, for the sake of argument, okay? I'm spending $100,000 a year buying shit from a manufacturer in India, okay? When I go to that guy and I say, you know what, I got a 5% tariff coming in here, you're gonna have to eat some of this stuff, because as a smart business owner, I'm not fucking eating all that. Why would I? They want to be here more than I want them to be here. I'm a furniture maker. I'm not a fucking hardware manufacturer. I make furniture, okay? 95% of my business is making American-made furniture. I don't buy a ton of shit from India, but I go to that guy and I say, look, dude, you're gonna have to eat some of this. And he's going to say, no, I can't give you that. No way. I'm giving you my best price. Okay. Then I say, well, you know what? I'm going to buy half as much stuff this year. Calls me back up and says, look, dude, like, we'll eat 10% of this. We'll eat 5%. They're going to eat something, right? And it's going to be significant, okay? So say they eat 5% of the 25%. We're left with 20%, okay? Somebody has to get that product over here to America, okay? It doesn't just come over on fucking ferry boat, okay? It comes over either on a plane or on a cargo ship, right? Those guys are eating some of that cost as well, okay? They might be eating 1 or 2% because, again, they have mouths to feed just like everybody else does, okay? It's not the American consumer that takes it up the ass every time. I'm sorry, it's lies. People that tell you that, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Stop watching television. Talk to a real business owner that makes something, okay? They're gonna eat some of that, okay? That product then comes to me. I have to pay the Customs and Border Patrol before they will release that product to me, okay? The last bill I had was like $785, right? We brought in, I forget how much hardware it was. Whatever, $785 worth of hardware. It was like 9 boxes of shit. I bring that product in here, okay? I then have to decide how much of that product am I going to pass on to my customer, right? Is it gonna be none of it? Am I, the American importer, gonna eat the last, whatever, 5, 10, 20%, whatever that might be? Or am I gonna pass some of that on to the consumer? Okay, here's the truth. I'm gonna eat most of it because my markup is so high. But the truth is I could afford to pass 10% on the customer. 10% of $70 is $77. No one's really gonna give a shit that buys my product if it's $70 or $77. They're just not. I'm selling to the 1%. That's who I sell to. I tell everyone on here, sell to the 1%. That way you don't have to, listen to people bitch about your prices all the time, okay? But I don't have to. I can, okay? So you see how this works. There's many people in the supply chain. Now, if you have a complex product, right, pay attention, First Avenger, because people are just, you're a little naive, man. If you have a complex product where there's multiple people adding value to that product in the third world before it makes it over here to America, there's more people to spread that rate around, or that tariff around to, okay? And ultimately, it comes back here to me. I got to pay it no matter what it is. I can pass it on to my customer. I don't have to pass it on to my customer. I choose how to pass on. And a lot of people help to eat that thing. And it depends on the market that you're operating in. Some markets, you can just pass it all on. Nobody gives a shit. Other markets, people are really sensitive to price hikes, okay? That's how it really works, So when people tell you that 96% of it's being borne by Americans, bullshit. If Trump said anything right, he said that, you know what, everybody wants to be here. The third world's going to eat that. He's not 100% wrong. He's not 100% right. The third world wants to be here a lot more than we want the third world, okay? You guys have to understand that because everybody eats because of America. And people don't understand this. They think that it's bullshit. They think that every country is equal. They're not. They're not all equal. America is where everybody wants to be. They are bearing a good chunk of it. Is it 10%? Is it 50%? I honestly don't know. And that's the real answer, man. When someone tells you 96%, they're full of shit, man. That's fucking bullshit. Again, as a business owner that actually imports stuff and makes things in the third world, it pisses me off when we have to listen to these people that are so-called experts lie to you. These people are fucking liars, and more people need to tell them that. So, sorry, I get worked over this issue because business is I care more about other people being able to start businesses than I care about my own business, because we need more people. If you want to fix the country, get more people working for business. Get more kids working for their parents. You want to unfuck what's going on today with academia? Get more people in businesses. It'll fix all this stuff because you can't lie to us. We have to pay the taxes. We have to deal with the regulations. We have to deal with the tariffs. We have to deal with the employees. We have to deal with healthcare. We have to deal with the legal system, right? We have to deal with all of it. Like, you can't bullshit us. Okay. Here we go again. All right, let's hear how I'm wrong. Okay, let's see. I appreciate your talk, attitude, your furniture looks amazing. Glad to see you exist still. A little closer. Yeah, that's cool, man. Like I said, that's what we do. We make real furniture, we make real products, we're a real business. And I tell anybody, like, you guys, you ever come to St. Louis, look up the Resplendent Crow, come say hi. Tell me you're one of these people that likes to fuck with me on YouTube or joust back and forth with me, or you love what I'm talking about, like whatever. I'll show you what we do. I'll show you our furniture. I'll show you the people that work there. I'll show you the hardware that I've just got done talking about with tariffs. I'll show you guys everything. I love showing people what it is we do. And like I said, I just try and get people to do it. I talk to people, not all the time. I talk to people halfway regularly about how to grow business, how to start business, giving them ideas, telling them how the game works from at least what I know, and it's good. So that's what I care about, man. Okay, let's see. Is this Grail? Is that not right? Grail Clips? I thought for a second that lamp behind you was. Yeah, no. It's the Lego lamp from Christmas Story. It's major award, you know. So yeah, it's fun, you know. It's kind of, you know, whatever. It's just something kind of people can like. We can all kind of relate to that, right? Everyone kind of knows what the Christmas Story is, I think. So, and if you don't, if you're from another country, go look up the Christmas Story, man. It's a great Christmas movie, man. We watch it every year. Okay, let's see here. Harry, what's this? Harry Pickles? Meth. Jensen Loser. Okay, cool. Loser, meth. Okay, those are great comments. What are Roth trying to tell me as the customer? I don't know what you're saying there, man. I'm sorry. 28.6. I'm not quite sure what that means either. I'm trying, dude. Trust me, Harry. I'm trying to figure out what you're saying. I'm working on it. You'd be surprised by what these people eat. Cool. Okay. Okay. So for you were saying that you only pass on about 10% of your customer. I'm just trying to understand. So I thought I explained it pretty well. Every product is different. Okay, so me personally, right now there's a 25% tariff on India. So truth is that the vendor is probably eating 5%. We're eating the rest because our product is marked up so many times because the market dictates the price of our product. I don't. I could try and sell my product for an inflated price, and there are other people that would sell something that's similar that would then sell all their product, and they're not going to buy mine when they can buy something else, right? If I undersell it, I'm going to sell too much of it, I'm going to run out. The idea is to sell just enough product to keep it coming in, going out. Keep it in, going out, right? This is how business works. This idea that we just sell out of everything, right? You guys remember that, what was that company where you could go online and get the coupons and stuff like that, and you'd go to the business and it was like you would get tons of business, right? That put a lot of business out of business because they couldn't deal with the rush of orders at the super low prices. They all went out of business. And the customers that used those coupons, they weren't repeat customers because they didn't really care about the product. They just wanted a cheap price on something. And then when they went back and they couldn't use that same coupon, they didn't want to buy your product anymore. You know, so businesses, there's a little bit of a rhythm to it. It's not a zero sum game. So in most cases, I probably eat most of it because we can afford it. The markup is so high, and I said it before. When a tariff comes into a market, a lot of times the tariff will move the market, and then everybody will adjust their prices accordingly, whether they have a tariff or not, which is a damn shame, but it is what it is. So, okay, here comes I'll buy your products if they're legit. Okay, well, great. ResplendentCrow.com. Go check them out, man. I'll speak plainly. Your product is furniture. Yes, Harry, go to theresplendentcrow.com. I'm not trying to sell you courses. I'm not trying to sell you nothing. I sell furniture. I sell really expensive furniture to wealthy people. So you want to go buy some furniture? Buy some furniture. Come on in St. Louis. Come say hi. You want to custom make something? I'll custom make something for you. So I'm not selling you t-shirts. I don't have any bullshit to sell you guys like all the other YouTube woodworkers. I don't have any bullshit knives to sell you. I'm not trying to, get sponsorships from Festool and Ford. I'm not trying to sell you, cleaning products, none of that shit. We sell furniture, that's it. Sell furniture, sell hardware. Talk on the internet, that's what we do. Go to themodernwoodrunner.com. You can say, I'll sell you some woodworking parts. You want to buy some legs for the furniture that I make? I'll sell you a couple. You want to buy some trims? I got a couple trims in there you can buy. It's stuff that I use in my furniture. Go watch my videos. Learn how to make furniture. Learn how to run a business. You want to learn about how to market a business. You want to learn about how to use Instagram, Facebook, all those kind of things. Got videos and all that kind of stuff. That's what I do. Okay. Okay. Your product says, do you have a galley? Galley goes in nautical, that's nautical furniture, and that's aviation furniture. I have a 20-year background in aerospace, okay? So I have made more galleys than you have. I've made more galleys than most people. Galleys are also used in the nautical trades. I've never made any nautical galleys, okay? So there you go. Okay, guys, I think I'm gonna call it good. I gave everyone almost 2.5 hours today. I appreciate everyone hanging out. Great talk. I'd love to do this again. We'll, as these, okay, first, Vandra, I'll read your comment for you. I try to do these talks about current events from time to time. People seem to like this talk about politics and bringing politics back to small business and back to American workers and stuff like that. So I continue to try and do that stuff. The American workers, all I really care about. I want the American worker to have a great paying job and pay less taxes, because I don't think that we should be paying as much tax as we're paying today. I think the Fed is screwing us. I think Trump's fucking up. I think our country is in trouble. And when you got to focus on the big issues, right? We got a lot of things we need to work on in this country. But all we can do is talk about it. So I appreciate everyone being here. I hope everyone stays warm and you don't end up getting this ice and lose power and all that kind of fun stuff. Let's read the last couple comments, then I got to go, guys. Let's see. It really helps if your primary customers are wealthy people. They don't have to worry about the budget the same way Havenager does. Yeah, in first image, that's a great point. And that's, again, it's not to be quite honest with you, most people have to start selling to a more of like a middle class, middle tier person. It's actually the large companies that actually start to sell to the poor and lower class people once they become big. But we all kind of, you have to have a customer that has money, right? And unfortunately, if you're going to sell an American-made product in America, you got to have money to buy that product, because it will be more expensive. And this is a huge shift that people are not going to like. But the truth is that when you sell a more expensive product made by Americans, what happens is the American and the consumer demands a much higher quality of product. So all the shit that you're getting from the third world, nobody's gonna fucking buy that anymore. Especially if there's a 400-500% tariff on it and it costs nearly the same amount as an American-made product. And that product, if you buy enough, if there's enough American businesses, you may be buying some from the guy down the street. You may be buying from someone like me, like you follow on YouTube, right? You're not buying from some nameless guy in Xinjiang, you know, that's making shit. Like that's not how it works. You're buying from people within your community. That's good for everybody, you know? So people have to kind of understand that you have to have a customer that can afford your product. When you make an American product, an expensive product, you get to make expensive wages. You pay your people a lot of money because it costs a lot of money to hire people here. You got to pay wages. You got to deal with the regulations. People aren't going to work for free in America, right? And if you let people just come in from the third world, guess what? There's less jobs for you. When you let corporations send work overseas, like the majority of the real work, manufacturing-based work, guess what? You can't make real money. Your only option is to go to college, right? And unless you're really smart and you're really good at what you do, college ain't going to help you. I hate to tell you this. I've said it for years at this point. College makes smart people smart. It does not make dumb people smart. I'm dumb. Most of us are pretty dumb, which just means that we can get really good at a few things. We're not complex thinkers, and there's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't mean you can't be successful. It doesn't mean you're not a good person. It doesn't mean you don't care about what you do, that you're passionate. It doesn't mean any of that shit. It just means you didn't go to college. It means you're better with your hands than you are with your mind. And that doesn't mean that you're dumb. You're very intelligent. You're very good at one or two very specific things. And the best thing about having American workers and American jobs, not sending everything to the third world, not sending everyone to college, is that when you expect a very high quality product, it lasts a long time. It lasts a lot longer. You don't have nearly as much engineered obsolescence. Companies aren't making products that fail. Companies aren't purposely putting things into your product that make them obsolete. They're not doing that kind of stuff, right? You're buying stuff that costs a lot of money, you get a good wage for it, and then you support your local companies because there's a lot of businesses. You got a lot more businesses when you don't let people just send shit over the third world. You don't let people white label stuff, bring products from the third world, bring them in here, and then sell them as their own like they made them, which a lot of people do. A lot of people are bringing shit into America. They didn't make it, but they're putting their name on it like they did. They call themselves American company, man. It's no bueno. It's no bueno, you know. So yeah, wealthy people are really important. Wealthy people aren't the enemy. I hear a lot of people talk shit on wealthy people, and wealthy people are unfortunately the path for many people, you know. But it's good. It teaches you to work around people with money. It teaches you to be respectful. It teaches you to conduct yourself in a way that will allow you to sell to that person, right? Because a wealthy person, you're not going to go around a wealthy person smelling like weed, being fucking covered in tattoos, looking like shit. It ain't going to happen. They're not going to be around you. They're not even going to give you the time of day. You got to conduct yourself in a certain kind of way, and that's good for everybody. I don't care what anyone says. You want to be on your own time? You want to have these kind of conversations, right? I wouldn't talk this way with all of my customers. Once you get to know wealthy people, they all talk just like this, but you're not going to get to talk to them if you don't know them, you know? So I hope this kind of stuff's helpful, guys. Like, this is just, like I said, I try to be real with people and do the best I can to show people that you don't have to follow the path. There's not one way to make it in this world, that we can have American-made business. People can make money, and there's lots of ways to make money. You don't just have to go to college. All right, I'm a pen and magnet guy. Okay, great, cool, man. That's awesome. Harry, if you got a business, man, let me know. You sell something, let us know what your business is. Love to hear it. First Avenger, it's interesting how we seem to agree on many things, but are opposed on others. I do appreciate it. And first adventure jet, that's awesome. That's great. That means you and I, if we were sitting in a bar, we could completely disagree on things and we could completely agree on things. And you know what? You're gonna bust my balls. I'm gonna bust your balls. That's what friends do, man. That's what people do that, you know, want to have dialogues that really want to get along together. There's nothing. I mean, you don't gotta agree with people, you know, like that. It's like I don't know how many of my friends that I've had in the past. Like we don't agree on all kinds of things. Doesn't mean we're not friends. You know, it just means we don't agree on this one issue. And especially with guys, like guys fuck with each other. Like that's kind of how it's supposed to be. Men, especially, like you have to disagree. Like you got to be able to look at a guy and you go, like, you know what? You're fucking dumb. Like it's the dumbest thing I ever heard. Like, man, you must suck dick. You know, you have to be able to say this kind of stuff and disagree. Like it's the most retarded take I've ever heard, and talk like real people. That's what builds camaraderie, man. That's what builds friendships. It's not agreeing on everything. I think it's a joke that people think that you got to agree on everything. If we don't agree on everything, we can't be friends. I've got to think that you're the worst person on earth because you don't agree on this one thing. You know, this one thing. It's like, oh, above all else, you can't be just a single issue person. Like there's nuance to people, man. I'm fancy. Okay, yeah, I'm fancy too, man. But that's cool. I like fancy people. Michael Ryan, 2828. Hello from Ireland. Man, fantastic. Ireland. Good to see you, dude. We're talking about America. We're talking about what a fucking shit show it is here right now and how we are not getting from the people that we voted for what we expected to get. We got a lot of issues going on here. America is trying to do all this imperial thing, and not real thrilled about that. Our media has us focusing on micro issues instead of macro issues, like the big picture stuff, you know. So we're talking about that today. I'm going to end the stream, though, guys. I got to go. I appreciate everyone being here. I've had fun with everyone, and we'll come back and do this thing again. So, guys, subscribe and click like and do all those kind of things. And, again, as these things come up, come and talk. You know, we'll shoot the shit and grow this thing if we can. I'm almost to my 3,000 hours, which is good, and we'll continue to do it. So, you guys have a great weekend, and we'll do it again later. Thanks.